All right, at this time, we'll call the December 1st, 2025 Jeff West Education meeting to order. That thing's echoing. Ready?
Turn the sound off on them. It's just echoing back. Did you say? It's echoing back on the top.
Make sure.
Okay, try again.
Okay. We better. Before we get too far, well, I'd like to recognize Dave Jensen for his years of service. 10 years of recognition, 5 years president. This doesn't say anything about how much he's done for the district over those years. And the time that I've been on the school board, we've done a handful of superintendents, some principals. We've conquered some big things. And we couldn't have done it without Dave's leadership, that is for sure. But we want to thank Dave for his years of service. Anybody else?
All right, yeah, thank you.
Carry on.
Would you like to say
that? How about that?
So COVID never comes back and good.
Yeah, we had some good times and we had some bad.
Thank you.
Yes, and you know, his commitment even went further. I mean, there's a building over there at the football field that I don't know if anybody saw is done up. Looks very nice. So thank you, Dave. At this time, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
On favor? 7-0.
I have a question. Do we not have to approve minutes for the November, the special meetings?
It will be in the consent agenda down there, isn't it?
Oh, they did not.
No, it's just November 3rd.
I can
Good
get
catch.
Good question.
Good catch.
Do we make a motion to amend and add it?
Unless you want to look at the minutes first.
They really just talk about how it was discussed, like there was a discussion, it was called to order, there was a discussion, a community engagement meeting, and it was dismissed. Like for the special meetings, there's nothing.
There's no attachments,
Huh?
no attachments or anything.
No, they didn't give us any attachments.
So the special meetings, are you talking about the community engagement one?
13th, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, since all the board members are together discussing board stuff, the only minutes is you called the meeting to order to have a community engagement. That's the only.
Okay.
Do we want a motion to amend and include, or do we need to do that?
Okay.
Well, you tell me.
This is new for me, so
How
I
about
don't know.
I make a motion to amend the consent agenda to include the special meeting minutes that. What was the date?
November 13th.
November 13th.
Second.
Yeah, second, sorry.
All in favor? 7-0. I had, so as we move on to the consent agenda, and I
I
had,
want to do comments from patrons.
okay,
If
sorry,
there was
yes.
any-
Any comments from patrons in
One at a time.
this? Very good. The consent agenda, I had a question for Brad today, because if you go through and look, the credit card bill is quite high a lot of times. So and then Brad can go on and explain, he explained to me, but like everybody else.
Yeah, we're kind of living in a time where we write fewer checks. And everything now is online. So we have multiple credit cards in the district, but they're checked out by administrators, secretaries. I have one, Carla has one. But when you see on there, there's not much room in the document to put much language. But you might see like Aaron Watson, you might see Carla Bradford. So Carla orders a lot at a district level, and we do a lot on Amazon. So for supplies but I thought it was a good question. We also had to get away from people would go and purchase things at Sam's and then come back and want reimbursed. So we had to get away from that. One, because you have to have permission first to make a purchase. But second, they're paying sales tax. So then we reimburse them and they want reimbursed for the full amount. Well, if we were doing it, we wouldn't pay sales tax. So so check out a card. If you're going, get it pre-approved. If you're going to Sam's Club, but we have so much from clubs and organizations to concession stand. There's a lot of purchasing throughout a month, and we've moved a lot of it to either using a card. That way, anytime there's a card, we get receipts, it's all on POs. But when you look at the documents here, if we had to upload all POs, then it would be multiple pages. So, but it was a good question because we live so much more today with online purchasing, and we do it primarily with our UMB Bank credit card because it's so much easier. One, from a treasurer standpoint, because you're writing one check to UMB Bank instead of multiple checks to Sam's or to all of that. So
Do we get reward on our credit card?
we actually do. And I was talking to Carla about it today, and I'm sure she's on here. I'm glad you mentioned that. We had like $4,500 worth of rewards. So you got to think about, well, you got all these different groups that are chinging up little bits of rewards. So we applied it towards the back to school bash expense because that kind of is a community. But yeah, so we had $4,500 worth of rewards, and it's like, well, who do you give the rewards to? So we applied it to the back to school bash just to offset a big event. Now we'll probably have someone say, well, I'd like the $4,500.
Sure.
That might be a debate. How do we pass that around? But anyway, we do get rewards from it.
Very good. Anybody else have any other questions on the consent agenda?
I do. On donations, we used to say where they came from. Are all of these anonymous donations or some of these like Booster Club and things like that?
I do put in there when they are not anonymous and when I get a name. I rarely get a name.
Mine is anonymous.
Unless if there's a check, then the checks are in the agenda.
Okay.
Very good. That being said, give a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
In favor? 7-0. Academic reports. Whoever wants to go first.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Elementary by the numbers this month, kindergarten, all of our classes are sitting at the same. We added one third grader right after, about early mid-November. Since our last meeting, we added one third grader, and we're going to lose a kindergartner. We got notified today that they bought a house in another district and they're going to move. We were hearing it from the child, but mom's followed that up today, so confident there. Veterans Day, we had 41 veterans. Thanksgiving dinner. Thanks for those that came and helped because we served about 600 meals that day and it felt like it. So it was a big, busy day. Let's see, we had our Tiger Read Night was November 19th. We had 39 families stop by, take some time to read. And then, as you know, we were doing some fun things with the kids on the Fridays. We were having cozy Fridays, cozy cares. The kids could wear a PJ's hat or glasses for $1 donation. The kids raised for God's Storehouse $685. The ripped jeans prank that they played on the principal raised $350. And the cozy care wearing sweats on Fridays raised $395 for a total of $1,430 for God's Storehouse. So that's being donated. And then we have Stuff the Bus happening this coming Friday with Junior Cheer Night. So some good things going on there. We have Winter Read Night coming up this Thursday. If you haven't been for a while, swing by, check it out. Let's see, we're going to have our day of play and the ES Blue Ribbon celebration for the kids on December 12th. We're ordering blue food and blue drinks and have got our new t-shirts are in. We're getting ready to print those. So, and right now we are starting benchmark testing to get that winter data, see how things have been going this whole quarter or this semester. Other than that, we are just getting ready for a music program next week. Come on by to that. It's 3rd grade. Any questions?
Do you know the total of your building? I didn't have my laptop. I'm sure it's in there.
Oh, the total of the
If not, it's fine.
317. And preschool, sorry, is at 41.
This December 12th, is this open to board members, public, or?
Oh, it is. Sure. Board members, come on by. We just thought we needed a day with the kids and we do those day of plays. So we're going to do it on a Friday and we're going to do the blue things. We've got, they helped build the big blue ribbon that's in the hallway that was at the open house. But we just want to make sure the celebration goes not just with the community, but now we want to do something with the kids. So we thought just having the game day, which they like anyway, we're going to make it all blue. We're going to wear blue. We're going to talk about blue. We don't hear a lot of blue talk from me usually, so we're going to blue it up. But we're going to have just a blue day. Come on by, board, swing in, check with a certain teacher if you want to and see what's going on because they have different schedules. We're still going to do lunch at the regular time, specials at the regular time. So there's a schedule, but we're going to have some fun on the day of play.
Very good. And then so I was talking to Brad about the preschool. He has added us to the preschool, because I don't know if any of you guys get the flyer, what happens up there weekly.
Yeah.
But he's gonna add us
Okay.
to it, so we know what's going on up there.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello. Okay, so not a whole time going on at the middle school. We will be finishing our first round of winter sports. We unfortunately didn't get to have our 8th grade parent night for our girls because that St. Mary's game was canceled and won't be rescheduled because we have a league tournament out there. We will be hosting 7th grade, so if you're in town and want to come watch 7th grade girls, we'll be hosting it here. The 8th graders will be traveling to Hiawatha. You can make that drive if you would like. Boys League Wrestling will be next week on Tuesday at Perry. And then the next day they will be starting boys basketball practice and girls wrestling. There is no rest time at the middle school for sports. December 15th, we'll have our art show at 6 p.m. and then our band and vocal concert at 7 for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. In December, it's been a tradition since I got here, we do a countdown to Christmas break. And so we have theme days, red and green is what today was. And then we also do one donation type day a week. So Friday we'll, do our canned good drive for God's Storehouse. The following week, the leadership team is going to sell candy grams to donate that money to God's Storehouse. And then we will do a hat day the 3rd week, just helping the kids have a little fun because it is, 3 weeks and trying to keep them engaged in school, have some themes, but also give back to the community. So working on that. Wes talking about Veterans Day, remind me, if you have not walked in the building, we did do an all-school Veterans Day art project. I had sent out a Google form for families to fill it out if they had a veteran in their family that they wanted recognized. And so I typed all that up. They're all little gold stars. And then all of the students got a little red or white piece of paper and they wrote what it meant, why we should celebrate Veterans Day, a little thank you, that kind of stuff. And then Dawn and Savannah turned it into an American flag and it's on the wall right when you walk in across from Miss Brown's classroom. So if you haven't seen it, check it out when you walk by. Couple of other things, recognition, Sandy, our head cook, will be retiring at the end of this semester, so just a little shout out to her for all the amazing meals she's prepared for her children. The other thing, just a little something to think about, we do have 40 boys so far signed up for middle school basketball. That's a lot.
They all in one grade again.
What?
Are they mostly all one grade again?
I don't look that far.
40 is just a lot.
Split, but
Well, there was
it's a lot. I mean, we have a lot.
30 on.
So it's a lot for, we do have 3 coaches, but even some of them are raw, they've never played before, and it's just kind of hard to, so we had about 38 last year. Just something to consider. We might need to, if that's gonna be the trend for boys, middle school boys, we might need a 4th coach just to help be able to pull those kids who've never played before and help teach them some fundamentals while the head coach is still able to push those ones who have played, who want to be competitive, who are the 18 level kids. And so if that's middle school boys, we always get a ton of basketball players out. So it's good and I love it, but it's hard to wrangle them all in.
For bouncing balls.
That is a lot.
There's not even enough balls.
And if, I mean, we get any more than 40, we don't have enough jerseys.
Oh, boy.
It's a little. We have exactly 40.
One had to get altered last year.
You knew you were rolling numbers off the top of your head.
250. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you.
Evening, everybody. Follow up on the numbers since fall season's over, starting our winter sports seasons here. High school boys basketball right now is 31 players out. High school girls basketball is about 16. High school boys wrestling is 14. High school girls wrestling at 13, and like Brenda said, about 40 for middle school basketball. So we have quite a few numbers at each place. High school basketball is about to start their season tomorrow with a jamboree against Silver Lake and McLeod. We'll be hosting the boys side of that, and the girls will be going to Silver Lake. The first game will be this Friday against Valley Falls on 12/5. I believe the Booster Club is doing, or the Education Foundation is doing their barbecue fundraiser. High school theater had 2 great theater performances for their Percy Jackson musical on Saturday, November 15th and Sunday, November 16th. They did great, so hats off to them. High school wrestling is going to start their season on Thursday, 4 at Silver Lake for their first mixer. And like Wes said, high school cheer is going to host their first junior cheer night on December 5th at the first home basketball game. In middle school girls basketball, we're going to host the 7th grade league tournament here on Saturday, December 6th, and then again on Monday, December 8th, while the 8th graders will be going to Hiawatha on the same dates. High school band and vocal concerts coming up on December 17th, and then like Brenda said, boys basketball and middle school girls wrestling starting practice on December 10th next week. Quick recognitions for all the fall coaches and for all the fall workers who help make all the seasons run, have great seasons for the majority of our sports. And then also Corey Kelly and Tim Roberts, who've been installing shot clocks, so have been blowing up their phones, getting help on that nonstop for the past couple of weeks. Questions?
You might update them a little bit on the league and the shot clock that we just.
Right.
Yeah, so
Pretty
shot
fun.
clocks, Keisha is making mandatory next year for 3A. So the league in the summer kind of took a vote to see who was going to have them, and it came down to 3 schools in June who weren't going to have them. It's going to be us, Riley County, and Sabetha. And so I'm talking with Rhonda in the summertime, decided to jump that gun and get started on that. So we're not one of the 3 schools left out when this basketball season starts. So Riley County, Sabetha, the only 2 games we go to won't have a shot clock for this season.
They look nice.
Yeah, just gotta get up and running for tomorrow.
I should have asked this earlier and it just hit me. Do we do evaluations for all coaches?
Yes. Those are getting underway. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello. Enrollment numbers, we were at one down a freshman, up a junior, so we stayed at 270. We inducted 6 members into our National Honor Society last week, and then this week we have our Quill and Scroll, which is a National Honor Society for journalism. So that's tomorrow night. So nice to get some of those awards being shared for those kids that are excelling in those areas. Our fall musical was well attended. Hope you had a chance to see it. they did a great job. It was funny and well, they knew their lines, they rolled with, you know, the little things that happen are gonna happen in a performance and most people didn't even notice. So it was nice. It was nice to see success on the stage. Our CTE programs, which are career and tech ed programs, met the week before Thanksgiving and talked about the changes that are coming. The state is reorganizing their clusters and their pathways to match the nation. So that changes a few classes in some of our pathways, more so the name or this class is no longer in that pathway and they've added XYZ class. And so we went through all that with our pathways. And looking at that, we discovered that some of the classes that we already have could help us get a second pathway. So maybe a student that is in this ag pathway, if we add the other ag pathway, they might go that diversify that in class. And so we're looking at adding a couple pathways there, and then we're looking at adding the teaching and training pathway. That will be a soft roll into that. We probably won't be full force with that. But getting that pathway approved and getting some of those classes started so that we can get our students that are interested in teaching some training and some experience and help grow our own, which kind of goes with our board goal to recruit and retain. So working on that. At our last late start, we started looking at our tier 1 protocols for MTSS, our multiple tiered systems and supports. You hear a lot about our tier 2 and tier 3 protocols and getting that extra support for students, but it's been a while since we've gone back and looked at our tier 1 protocols, which is all students. And as we are working on our school improvement goal to align with our standards, that's a good time for us to step back and reevaluate what are our tier 1 protocols. We've been doing many of our professional development trainings on the HIP strategies and that fits right in with all the tier 1. And so we started looking back through what are tier 1 protocols, what are our expectations, what are our non-negotiables, and some of our staff hadn't seen them. We hadn't reviewed them. We've just been doing. And so with the turnover in staff, it's been good for us. So we've been working in our curricular areas on that. They'll bring that back to the BLT team with recommendations. We'll take that to the district leadership team, and then we'll revamp those and get them up to date and align them with our school improvement and our professional development. So that's been a lot of our professional work that we've been doing. Couple of highlights upcoming. Many of our clubs in this season of giving are adopting families, or like our FFA is making tie blankets to donate to God's Storehouse for them to distribute. They did a fun movie night right before Thanksgiving and brought their group in and made the blankets and asked kids to bring in some canned goods, and they went around and filled the blessing boxes around town with those. So Spanish Club usually does a Spanish family out of the Topeka area and donates and adopts them. So I'll have more about that in January of what clubs participated and did those things. I'm hoping to be part of Step the Bus that's coming up and want to get the word out on that. I would also like to highlight our cheer and West Steppers. They had their state competition. West Steppers finished 8th and cheer 10th. I didn't get to see the West Steppers, but I did get to see the cheer, and they looked really good. I was excited, and we had probably about 70 people there on a Saturday to cheer them on. So that was exciting to see when they are always going out and supporting everyone else, that many people came out on a Saturday morning to cheer them on. Would like to recognize Allison Folger and Lisa Sage for doing the KCTC survey for us. And then also our English, Mrs. Folger, Mr. Riley, and math, Mr. Gross in math, Mr. Campbell, and Mrs. Barr in math. This was our first year that we've done the interim assessments with the Kansas State assessments. So looking forward to checking out that data and seeing if that helps us redistribute how we're teaching or when we're teaching what concepts. Gives us a little bit of idea they've got this or they didn't have this, and we can look and see, have we taught that yet? Nope, okay, so that's probably why they don't have it, but if it's a concept we have taught and they didn't do well, we can go back and revisit that before we take our state assessments in the spring. So that's a new tool for us to use at the high school. I know they've been using it at the middle school. We really haven't gotten into that at the high school, so this is our first year for that. So I'm excited for that to help us and see if that helps with our state assessment scores. And I think that's it, unless you have questions.
When you say you're getting a pathway approved, who approves it?
So what we have to do is there's a process. Through the computer, you have to go in and enter all the details and information that they want. It goes to the state, and then the state looks and says, do we have all the things that we want to have? Do we have the classes offered that we need to have? Do we have an articulated agreement? Do we have advisory council set up? And once you put all that in, then they review it. They get back to you, hey, you need to change this, and make changes. And then they will come back and say, yes, this is a pathway you've been approved for or not. And if not,
So
why?
with the teaching pathway, that we'll have to go through that process once we feel like we've got a good lineup of classes for all 4 years and.
Yeah, and so we'll go ahead and put in for this next year.
Okay.
But we may not be offering all the classes. We might, offer the intro class and maybe a technical class. And then maybe the following year, teach that, and I shouldn't say offer, I should teach. So, because you can offer them and not teach them and still be approved for your pathway. So being able to teach then some of our application classes once we get students that have moved through the pathway far enough to be ready for application.
Do you feel like there's an interest in that? Is there a way to gauge that at all, or we really don't know?
With as many of our students that like to go down and be peer tutors at
Yeah.
the younger grade
Yeah.
levels, I do think there's an interest there. And we've had several students that have become teachers, and I think just giving them that opportunity to really shine in a specific area, not just go be a peer tutor, but hey, I'm doing a teacher apprenticeship or an internship type
Yeah.
class, can take that even a step farther. So.
Okay. Cool.
Other questions?
Keystone report.
Keystone, I didn't print anything out this week, sorry. Our last meeting was a week and a half ago. We actually met at the Ozaki Methodist Church, which is where JDLA is temporarily located until their building is finished in Oskaloosa. So we actually had our meeting in the basement, which is the cafeteria area, or was it no, it was the basement. And we've got a little tour of the building. And so the elementary students, there's only a handful of them. There's 2 classrooms on the lower level where the elementary school students are at. And then the upper sanctuary is just a wide open space. And it's basically been converted into a series of open classrooms. And all of these teachers kind of work together and team teach the middle school and the high school students that are there. And I guess it's going really well. And the teachers kind of love it at this point. And so shout out to those teachers for being adaptable and adapting to what could have been a tricky situation for them, but they have definitely made the best of it, for sure. Also, Terry Coughlin, who is the principal and has been for 25 years, announced her retirement. So she will be leaving at the end of this school year. So we will be in the process of looking for a new principal at JDLA, but she wanted to give us plenty of notice so she could help with the process of finding somebody, because she has true passion for that job and she genuinely cares. Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Yep.
She was great.
We all met her about a year ago, I think. She came and chatted. So she will absolutely be missed, but she said she's not going to be far. She thinks she's probably going to be substitute teaching at JDLA. So on her own terms.
Very good.
Yeah.
Next, we'll move on to the board issues, and the first one will be the audit.
Yay.
Very patient.
Hello. Can you all hear me okay? Can you hear me?
I'm gonna get the fruit bowl up now. Okay, you want to try talking, Kayla?
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
No.
Yeah. Hold on.
Can you do that?
We can hear a while.
A lot of pages.
Do a lot of fingers.
You
Can
try
you hear me now?
again?
Oh, yep. Can you hear me?
You know her.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did it.
Yeah, okay, good. I was just trying. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to join remotely with the weather conditions the way they've been. I'm definitely glad to have that option because I wasn't real sure what the roads were going to be like. But hopefully you've all received a copy of the audit report. There were really two separate documents. One was the actual financial statements, and the other was a smaller report that was addressed to the Board of Education. That smaller report addressed to the board. It summarizes certain items that we're required to go over with you. So that's primarily what I'm going to focus on today. So if you turn to that document on the first page there, I'd like to discuss our responsibilities in performing the audit. So ultimately, our responsibility is to perform an audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, the government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States, and the Kansas Municipal Audit and Accounting Guide. So those standards require us to perform an audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statement is free from material misstatement. So we test different items and we do analytics and we talk to different people and we end up making a conclusion at the end. So one other thing I just want to mention about that is that the district does annually receive a waiver from the state to issue their financials in accordance with regulatory basis. So you don't issue your financials under GAAP basis, which is something that is totally allowed under state law. But as a result of that, we actually issue two different opinions, and our opinion on the regulatory basis was unmodified. So in audit terminology, that means it was good. You passed, everything was good. That's ultimately the highest level that you can get. So all good news there. In the next section, in the section titled Accounting Policies and Practices, this is where we would bring to your attention anything that we identified during our audit related to any changes in existing accounting policies or newly adopted accounting policies, or any significant or unusual transactions. There were no items like this for me to bring to your attention, but there was this year an item that's called a significant estimate. This isn't something new. It's just something that is newly added to our reports. But ultimately, your footnotes disclose the amount of your net pension liability, which is an amount that is calculated by some actuaries hired by CAPERS. So this is ultimately determined to be an estimate, and it's in your footnotes. So we are just letting you know about it. Overall, our conclusion was that the estimate was reasonable. So nothing crazy there. The next section on page 2, there's two sections titled Audit Adjustments and Uncorrected Misstatements. This is where we would bring any items like that to your attention, and we did not have any. The next section does explain a departure from the auditor's standard report. Because the districts does report on that regulatory basis that I was talking about earlier and not GAAP, we do issue a second opinion on GAAP basis, which is an adverse opinion, but ultimately that's because you don't report on that basis. We are just required to issue an opinion. So, nothing unusual or unexpected with that. It's just something that's kind of unique with KMAGs, and so I am required to bring it to your attention. In the next section, this is where we would let you know about any concerns related to disagreements with management, any consultations with other accountants, significant issues discussed with management, any difficulties encountered during the audit, or any difficult or contentious matters that required consultation. There were no matters such as these that we need to bring to your attention. In fact, management was very well prepared for the audit, very transparent throughout the entire process and cooperative in answering all of our questions. And it can definitely be a painful process, but they were very happy to assist us. So it was great. On pages 3 and 4 of this letter, this is where we talked talk about our shared responsibilities for independence. So in order to meet the requirements for us to perform your audit, we must maintain our independence, both of mind and in appearance. So we will do our part to maintain adherence to these requirements, and we just ask that the district does their part by informing us of any information that we need to verify that we're independent, and also just not entering into any relationships with any of our partners or anything that would impair our independence. So nothing new there, just something always to bring to your attention. Finally, at the end of this letter, we have attached a copy of management's representation letter. This letter is the final step of the audit process, and it just puts into writing matters that are required by our standards to be represented to us by management. So the signing of this letter represents management's acceptance of the financial statement and an indication that the report is ready to be finalized. We provide this letter to you because we think that it'll help you as a governing body to better understand your financials and the matters that underlie them, and will help you to fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities. So please read through that letter and feel free to email me later if you have any questions about that. I won't go over that with you right now. I did just want to point out one section of your financial statement that you won't see this year, and that is a single audit section. So in prior years, because of some recent COVID funding, the district had been exceeding the $750,000 threshold required for a single audit. Just means you needed federal expenditures of that amount, but you did not this year. So, and they've also now increased that threshold to $1 million. So that might keep you from reaching that threshold in future years, which is ultimately just a bigger expense and more stuff that we have to audit and bug Carla about every year. So that was good that we didn't have to go through that part this year. So finally, really that is all that I'm actually required to communicate with you guys, but I did just want to make you aware of a couple of items that we call control deficiencies. So these are items that we've communicated with management every year, and we just want to take a little extra time this year to make you aware of them. None of these were items that were material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, which would require us to put them in writing and communicate them to you, but they are just items that management wants me to make you aware of ultimately. So one item was related to just segregation of duties. We're aware that you guys are a much smaller entity, and so there's often one person that has to wear many hats. We did just find that the payroll clerk has access to both the payroll system to actually process payroll and also to print the checks, so the custody of the checks. And those are just two areas that we typically recommend to keep separated if possible. We've always felt that there's good compensating controls in place at the district, different layers of review that happen after the fact, to where if there were any material misstatements, they would be caught. But just segregation of duties is something I've been really harping on over the last year with my clients. So I just kind of want to make you aware of that. Another thing I've kind of been working to help districts with a little bit more recently has been stale dated checks. And I was really impressed with how quickly Carla emailed me to get that resolved. So we're already working on that. It's something we should have taken care of for next year. But just if there are any old stale dated checks that haven't cleared the bank after a certain time, they have to be reported to the state. So it's an item that we're going to work through. So overall, it was really a good audit year. Special thanks to Carla. I think this was year 2 for you, and it was a fabulous year. And just everyone over at the district for their hand in the audit and their patience in dealing with us. But I do just want to open it up in case you guys have any questions for me.
Any questions? I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kayla.
So I got that email, not knowing that that was coming, it made me real nervous. Brad, you want to go over this resolution to the amend the Keystone Interlocal Agreement? This is.
So you have a printed copy, and I sent this out last week. First of all, to amend an interlocal agreement takes quite a bit of time. Because to start an interlocal, you have to go to the state board to get permission. So the 8 school districts that are part of the Keystone, that interlocal agreement that started back quite a few years ago, had to go to the state board. And these agreements have to go through the Attorney General's office. So to amend this, this is the language that is being recommended, but it will also have to go to to the Kansas Association of School Boards. Their attorneys will review it. Then it'll go to the Attorney General's office for their review. Then it'll be sent to the state board. So it takes quite a bit of work, but this is just the first process. There are two items in here that I got a black and white copy, so that's why I couldn't find it. It's in, hopefully you have colored copies.
We have copies that are faded.
Okay, that means the blue, if you look on page 2, if you can read it, it looks like it's faded. That's supposed to be blue.
Okay.
But basically, the interlocal agreed at some point, we've got to deal with how do we handle virtual students. And this really came up when Jeff West added 1,300 virtual kids in 1 year. And how that plays into the percent of us being members of the interlocal. They were very gracious when they started the conversation of exempting us that year, because that would have taken us from like 18% to 40-some%. So our fees are everything. So they did not do anything that year, but they decided we need to have something to address it. So the language that they're adding is that if we have virtual students, they count towards our enrollment when we figure our membership. Right now, we only accept in-district kids as virtual, and we contract with Greenbush, and that's the same way the other school districts do. So our virtual kids count towards our enrollment, because if they are ours and they do require special ed services, Keystone is going to provide them services because they live in our district. So that's one change. The other change and hopefully the one I sent you last week was the colored copy, so you have that. But it is also, this is just language about what would occur now that Keystone is building a new building, and in the future they were to dissolve. So this language basically lays out that the property that is being built, upon being sold, goes back to the original, the proceeds goes back to the original school districts that built it. So it's the 8 and our percent of membership at the time, because that's what we're all contributing. So that's kind of how that language, this is a receive item, unless you were like, yeah, I read it, I'm okay with it. But we worked on this for the last couple of years of just trying, the superintendents were good with it. But we felt like we couldn't pass that on to future board members if we didn't get something in language while it's fresh and the place is being built. So any questions, even though
we will always say we are locked in at this
0.68%.
18%.
Yes. Because if we go up or down, doesn't matter. Our contribution to building that is based off of that amount.
And does this need to be done right now?
Before they send it to KASB, they want all 8 school districts, and it's got to be unanimous. Doesn't mean you have to vote 7-0. It just means all 8 members need to have approved this before they send it. So, but I am comfortable with both languages, because I think we were the ones, all of the 8 districts were the ones that were saying, we need to get something in writing because it may never dissolve. But what if it did? Let's have something in language that goes back to, so if one district, if we were to leave, then we give up our share. If someone comes in, they don't get part of the share. So that's kind of the stuff that's in here. It's just the original 8 districts. If the place dissolved and was put on the market and sold, the money would be distributed back out to those original 8 districts. Even though those 8 districts could change in the future, doesn't matter. Unless, let's say Perry decides they want to go to Lawrence. Well, they can, they just know that in the event the place is ever sold and they're not members anymore, they're not going to get.
Are we the first of the 8 districts to see this?
No, Effingham, I think their board saw it and they went ahead and approved it. But they got it, but their meeting was later last month
Okay.
in all of,
Okay.
I think the superintendent said they already looked at it and they already
Okay.
approved it. But I think they ended up having a later meeting in November.
Mhm.
And with us being, everyone else has their meetings next week, so they'll be looking at it.
Yeah.
If this is a binding document, does it matter that it's saying USD 340 Jefferson County West? Because it says in both.
Says it for County North too. I noticed.
Well, it is Jefferson
Yes,
County
mine
North,
is.
but we are. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not, our legal name isn't Jefferson County.
Nope, that's a good catch.
Good circled it.
They just
So
need
it was
to,
Well, that makes it, we'll hold off on
yeah, I put circled. It was like, why?
it. Okay. District? Does anybody else have any more questions on that?
so we'll have that corrected and back in January.
Thank you.
District fundraising policy.
So you also have a handout. And Cole is gonna walk you through this. It's been a work in progress for a while, but since he'll be doing a lot of this coordinating, and did a lot of legwork with the principals on it, so.
Yeah, so the past 2 months, we've organized a leadership team to kind of create a policy, to kind of cover our basis of future fundraisers and kind of the goals we want to set for them. The first paragraph there is talking about how fundraising activities at school, on school property, or at school sponsored events are prohibited except for in this policy. So it doesn't apply to outside fundraising groups such as the Booster Club or other summer camps, because those aren't school designated. Those are all self-run throughout the summer. And the booster clubs are different as well. The first point there, at no time shall participation in fundraising impact a student's grade or membership, participation time or sitting on a team. That's basically just saying that you can't make a student sell X amount of goods or whatever the fundraising may be, so they can make varsity or so they can play more than 5 minutes a game. Again, with students that students be able to go out for their sport without having to have fundraising restrictions tied with that sport. The next part, district will manage, restrict, or decline funds, gifts, or fundraising activities to ensure that fundraising and expenditures comply with applicable district, state, and federal laws. Part of this approval is to ensure that all these rules are followed. Acacia has very strict guidelines and rules for fundraising and what we have to follow in terms of expenditures and how they're run. So it's making sure that when they get either principal approval or myself approval, they're making sure that their end goal, what they want, does apply to those rules, and it's not going to break any Acacia rules or Title IX or anything else. And that follows by the next part, where it says that fundraising activities must be pre-approved by the building principal and or athletic activities director and adhere to those guidelines. So those guidelines can't interfere with instructional time, infringe upon or detract from faster activities or the educational process. And the big one is online fundraising, such as using websites like Donors Choose or GoFundMe, have to also comply with this policy, district rules and regulations. The The staff fundraising, sometimes they'll post, Facebook posts asking for them to buy things with their wish list or things like that. Those exceptions are at the discretion of the principal and it comes to fundraising. On that end. Okay. And then getting approval for these fundraising requests are going to depend on certain factors, such as below, but also not limited to compatibility with the district's educational program, mission, vision, core values, and beliefs. The big one is having a clear goal of specific purposes for the use of those funds being generated. So when a person or a club comes to me or one of the principals with the fundraising activity in mind, one of our questions will be, what's the purpose in mind? Is you're saving up for money for a future purchase? Are you wanting a specific item? That way we know what that money is going to be used for in the future. That way, what's some of the issues that we've been having recently. And then also compatibility with what the district has existing with technology, other items, so we're not adding additional expenditures. Question there, first page.
Nope.
Okay. Then skipping down to that second black bullet point, if approved, the requester shall be responsible for preparing all materials and information related to the fundraising campaign and keeping district administration apprised of the campaign status. Part of that is we started a fundraiser tracker, so we know what's happening throughout the school year. That way, in November, we're not having 4 different Christmas type fundraisers going on and overwhelming the community. So that's just kind of there to make sure that we know when this is going to end, when it's going to start. That way we know what other groups are coming up, that they'll be in the clear to have their own fundraiser. Below that, in the empty bullet points are kind of the proceeds or how it's going to happen for money wise or for the items that are raised, the fundraising. So the first part there is fundraising proceeds shall be deposited into staff members' personal bank account or peer-to-peer payment network. And that's just solely to preserve the integrity of the fundraiser itself. There's no questions on why is so-and-so having money deposited into their account and how come we raised 20,000 and we got 18,000 back in the previous account or any other example. The money raised or items secured by the fundraising campaign by a person or entity acting on behalf of the school will be property of the district unless specified and approved by administration beforehand. Items of money generated on behalf of the district are subject to the same control regulations of other district property and shall be deposited or inventoried accordingly. No money raised or items purchased shall be distributed to individual employees without the express written consent of the administration beforehand. Pictures of students, whether it be on a flyer or social media posts or any other places what they might be used for, can only be used if their parents have given permission for them to be published. So that's in their beginning enrollment packet, the permission to be published paper. And then once again, fundraising activities must comply with all board policies, including but not limited to policies governing the privacy rights of students. At the end there, nothing in this policy is intended to prohibit an employee/student from using fundraising campaigns for personal items or reasons. In such cases, the employees shall not be acting on behalf of the district or the school, identify themselves as employees of the district, or suggest the fundraising campaign is for the benefit of students, classrooms, or schools of the school district. Just for the purpose of clarifying, acting on behalf of the district or the school means an employee/student is holding oneself out as an employee or student of the district and receives donations for the benefit of the district or particular school, classroom, or student.
Great job. Not easy. Just a little bit.
Questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. He was patiently waiting.
Okay, the first paragraph where it says we'll work closely with the outside groups. What does that mean? I mean, right now, just by reading this, I could go start the Jeff West Puppet Club and people could donate $100,000 and I could just leave with it.
Yeah, so when part of my understanding of working closely, when those groups do have that fundraising money, they're still under the subjectification guidelines. So you can't go spend $1,000 per student for whatever fundraiser that you made for that summer camp or that group. So just making sure that we know that you're not going to go take 10,000 and give a kid a brand new card and make them come to Jeff West.
Right.
Are you saying just
that
like
wouldn't
creating it off to
Or
the side and not
If you
having
are a
approval?
school entity or employee of the district, like that would fall on you.
Yes, yeah, but that's the issue. If I say it's Jeff West, I mean,
Yeah,
and we don't have any oversight on that.
I think it's
if we don't have any authority to stop, I'll use you as an example, from actually doing that. Other than when people contact us, we would say, we don't know who they, you know,
Mhm.
but we can't stop you from doing that. But if we know that you are doing that, we're gonna reach out to you and say, hey, is this on behalf of our puppet club? Is this on behalf of, you know, because we typically get the calls.
Right, and that's where I was going
Yeah.
forward.
So one, we would get the calls and we would say, we don't know who John Lloyd is. We don't have a puppet club. We, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So we would
right.
try to let people know.
But what if it is, I mean, and I'll use Aaron as an example, and I'm sorry, but
No,
you're sitting right here, but
Yeah.
let's say that the booster club, you know, Aaron takes $10,000 and runs off. And then people are gonna come to us and say, we want our money back. And we're gonna say, well, that was the booster club. And they're gonna say, it doesn't matter, it's the Jeff West Booster Club, I want my money back.
Yeah, we have to make it clear to people that Booster Club is not affiliated with us. And
we have open meetings every Wednesday, first of the month. to
Right,
go
right.
over-
yeah,
I know, but that's a good thing to
Yes.
point out, that we go over every line item through our ledger and our bank account, so that's. what
Because
covers us
on,
as
you know,
well.
on the next page, money raised, items secured, anybody acting on behalf of the district. Well, according to Keisha, any booster club that we have is, their word, synonymous with the district.
Yeah,
So
they're
if-
subject to Title IX as well.
if any of them have any intentions like Booster Club, Touchdown Club, Diamond Club,
Mhm.
of doing anything for our students, then we have to make sure that they follow Title IX or CASA guidelines. If Aaron takes off with $10,000, we don't, because they're not an entity of us.
Okay.
So,
So
And-
take more and stay on.
but
I mean, stop giving so much
But
more. 'cause I
those,
spend more.
there are advantages to having outside groups because, you know, post-prom committee, they're outside of us, but they're doing things on behalf of, you know.
Yeah, I absolutely, I love that we do it. That's not the issue. I just want to protect the school.
Yeah.
If somebody does something,
And I think our goal is to make sure that anybody doing anything on behalf of Jeff West students, we communicate with them and make sure that they're
Mhm.
following guidelines that would prevent our kids from,
I guess, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. Maybe I don't know the rules well enough, but I got you.
but we have no financial harm if there was ever neglect. As opposed to if it was one of our
coach.
head coaches, or if it was our sponsor. Now we're,
Okay.
which this will help us.
Yes, yeah, I mean, I get this, this actually tracks very well for in-house. I was just worried about our liability outside.
Yeah, and there's always a liability of outside groups. Good and bad.
Yeah, and when
These-
Booster Club purchases like big things like the UTV and stuff, we go through for approval
Mhm.
to be able to do that too, instead of just saying, hey, about
Right,
this.
right,
sign
and
this.
we all saw it
Yeah.
come through. and
Yeah.
made it very
So we
clear.
just like to make sure the checks are wrote out. and all of that stuff.
If a group is found to be in violation of a CASA rule or Title IX rule, whose jurisdiction is that to enforce?
Yeah.
I
Or,
mean, is it ours to find them and say we need to adhere to? Okay,
and
And so it
typically
says
what
we're
will
synonymous,
happen
that's
is we
what I
have to
mean.
have some kind of corrective action
okay,
to show that it was addressed.
okay. And most likely it's usually an education issue where they just didn't know. So that would be on us to educate them and say, this is how that works. Okay.
So how does it work for like yearbook? I know like those on yearbook were expected to sell ads. And some of them do that during school time. Is this different because that's a class? Or is that,
Well, they're getting something in return. They're getting an advertisement.
yeah, I'm just curious because the way it's worded in like that section about, impacting a student's grade, et cetera, because aren't they expected to as part of the
So we
course?
have some language in here that there are situations at the discretion of administration. For example, cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter was a high school cheerleader for 4 years, so we knew going into it that she had to raise enough money to so there are exceptions,
Okay.
but
I
yearbook, so
think
there
you're
are
right.
things for specifics that they are a requirement of participation or are a requirement of the course, like cheerleading or yearbook. But you sign up to go into it knowing that. So that's why there's an exception by the building administrator. It's for you. That was actually what took us some of the longest is coming up with, well, how do you address the exceptions?
Right. Yeah, that's tricky because I forgot all about that. They do have to sell ads.
Yeah, which is
They're required.
honestly, it's great that they do it. I just was curious if that's gonna,
Yep.
was thought
Yeah.
in the process.
So our goal isn't to prevent anybody from doing a fundraiser, it's just to have more clear guidelines and expectations of those fundraisers and make sure that it's being used appropriately and for the specific purpose of what they run it for.
So this is a receive item this month. That way you can look at it, come up with other questions. We'll have it in January. Then after that, Cole and the administrators will sit down with all sponsors, coaches, kind of walk through it with them. Because then we sat there and thought about, well, just in the last 3 years, how much turnover have we had in coaches and sponsors and so.
That all being said, does anybody have any guidance or thing they want Cole to look into before we approve? I mean, we're not approving this now, but.
No, I've got a month to get my puppet club.
But does anybody have anything they want him to look into or change or?
No,
I can start bringing the
I think you
transaction
should,
reports for people.
get really versed in the equity part because
Get ready.
it's very, very challenging to understand because the majority of that language with Title IX is based on collegiate level. There are specifics to high school, but it is very much open to interpretation. So if you were ever inspired by when you asked about it, I went through it and it is very challenging. It's up for interpretation on a lot of things because from a high school level, you can collect all the money you want as long as it's not limiting or creating as long as the school is providing sports and uniforms are on that. After that, it's going to be really tough to prove any negligence to equity. So, I mean, I would just make sure that somebody, sorry, Cole, has a very good grasp on that in the event that, I mean, you made a really good point because I didn't know.
Well, we have a Title IX compliance officer.
Yeah, I just think that it would be wise.
No, I think that's exactly right.
Not even Keisha is not clear on
It's
everything.
really
No.
amazing.
Or, yeah.
Well, it is very hard to,
Is it just
it's
sports
not
or
black
is it
and white.
clubs too?
it's clubs.
Clubs too.
So like when I get emails saying, can you go buy punch and cookies and stuff for our banquets? Like things like that, is that considered,
I don't know who you're,
like, for instance, we just provided punch and cookies and
well,
all
I'm
those
saying like,
things
how
for
does that
National Honor
take away an
Society.
opportunity from someone else?
No, it's not, but it's only giving to so many students, is
Yeah,
that
but that's-
considered?
See, that's the up for interpretation.
That's why I was asking,
I
I just
think
wanna
they would
make
look
sure
more
I'm
at the
following.
totality of what.
Keisha's got like birthday gifts and their policies and being set, they're gonna keep. Yeah.
So the cookies that go in their belly. and-
Yeah.
Well, that's the part that they're.
Because those
really
are like
not
a lot of
clear
the things that.
Because it says
doesn't
generally
provide
meals are
things like that.
discouraged, however.
Punch, yeah.
Like if a donation came in from an outside group that said, I want to give it to all these sports, but leave out volleyball.
Yeah.
That would be a problem.
Yes.
A big one. Very good. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you.
The next one, the next item is the city, the council and USD partnership on a grant. So I can field this one. Cause, I worked on. We have done grants throughout the city. We've done the library, sidewalks, the bar, cruises, you know, and over the years, we're pushing 900,000 of federal dollars that we've brought into the city through this community block grant, this CBEG block grant through HUD. But it's gotta be run through the city. Brad was asking about, you know, maybe talking to him, and I kind of been pushing it back because there's gonna be a whole new council. And it's not fair for a council to vote on something. So coming forward, this is kind of just a discussion. And some of the council members do know that, you know, we would ask if there's nothing going on, you know, we have to look, you can do one a year. Looking ahead, do we have anything at the city that we need it for, you know? So the library did this year, you know, and I'll give them a little plug in. Those girls have been, guys, have done a tremendous job on, I mean, 1.2, but I think they're past that now on building a new library for the community. It's up to 650,000. So we can utilize it for something that can be used for the public all the time. Attract, you know, it'd be worth just looking into it and see what it's worth. But before one of us just ramrodded down there and asked for permission, it was kind of a discussion thing. And when it comes to that time, I'll ask somebody else to come in and talk to council about it other than myself.
So we would have to go to a city council meeting.
Yeah.
And ask.
Yeah, and you know, then they would discuss what do we got coming, you know, you wouldn't have a direct answer because we'd have to make sure nothing else is coming up, and then we have, there is fees that go with it. We have a company that we've been using, that has facilitated all this 900,000 over the last 4 years. We would just the school would have to incur the cost of their services, but they're pretty good, you know, they'll stick with it, they'll reapply it, you know, with no extra.
What are their services? What are they?
So they do the grant writing fee. So how this
They're
works,
grant writers.
yeah,
Okay.
and how this works is this grant has to be facilitated through the city. The whole way down to the bid process, you know, coming up on the library. Once they get their final draft done on what they're building, then it'll go out to bid, and all that will come down to City Hall, and all those bids will be opened at a bid process at City Hall. So any work that is done through this grant has to go through the Sourced in America, the David Bacon prevailing wage. I mean, there's a strict criteria, but they handle all the filing too, which is very nice. You know, when we get done with all of them, there's a file down at City Hall that they, you know, here you get audited. Everything's right here, and you know they're really particular about getting things out of order. I mean, they do a wonderful job, and they've helped us in years past on projects too. But right now it's would you guys be open to? Okay. Come then, give them, we'll give them a month to settle in.
I was gonna say new council comes.
Yeah,
in
you gotta
January.
give them a month to settle in and figure out who's who. We have a tremendous council, and the people that are coming on are very open and good too.
Good.
So,
That's a great idea.
but
Thank you.
so maybe shoot for the February meeting, you know, and this would go in, you know, when we talk about this bond down here. You know, some of these projects that we might be looking for would have to be included in that. So, and we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But they can go hand in hand.
Good.
Review of the Stop It app.
So, as a follow-up to a month ago, Mrs. Frakes is going to just provide the board with some information on the Stop It app, how it works, what its intended use is.
Can you act it out as a team building exercise?
What's that?
Have them just act it out. Well, get to the public class.
We're gonna need a formal filing.
Not been pledged yet.
Wow.
I'm an outsider.
You want to be the sponsor?
Wait a minute. I want to be the beneficiary.
Wait, oh, I bet you do.
Think of what good I could do for the community with that money. My driveway. Members of the community drive on my driveway. Who? Perhaps at 06, might be time to upgrade.
Okay, what's your,
I don't have a puppet. I'll be the puppet. Called the PA.
Yeah, it's gonna be small. Yeah, it's fine.
we got a slate on it. Put mine away.
How do I miss them?
She's talking, so. She's. All right, plan B.
So, go ahead.
On your desk, I did hand out a flyer that kind of goes through what the Stop It app is, which is what the video was going to go over. But it's an opportunity, a way for students to anonymously or community to anonymously submit a concern about bullying, about vandalism, about self-harm, about just anonymous report tool. It can be done on a cell phone, which is through an app, or it can be done through a website on the Chromebooks. They also have a phone number, but we haven't gotten much information on that. And so we've really done the app or the website. But students can go to that app or site, and it asks them to choose, what is the topic, and if it's bullying, vandalism, emotional, and they can list that, and then they can add details. They can upload attachments, and then it will send it to their site, which is manned, and then that is sent to the schools, districts, whoever, whichever building. So it may be high school, it may be middle school, it may be elementary. I think probably the high school, and looking at our past data, is where it's used the most. I think we've had this for 3 years, and we have had about 56 submittals at the high school and maybe only 2 at the middle school and none at the elementary level. But it will send us an email. If we don't respond to that email, depending on what is submitted, so there's an urgency level. If there's not a response in a safe matter of time, they will make a phone call. Like we had one where a student submitted something about another student and they were worried about them for self-harm. And so, I don't know what I was doing that day, but I wasn't at my computer and I didn't answer my phone. And so then they called the next administrator. And so Brenna got a call for, hey, this is something that needs to be addressed. And she got a hold of me. And then I looked into the situation and we, handled it as needed. So it also has our SRO officer on it. Dana Boyer is one that also gets a notification. The superintendent's on it, all the administrators. And then after some conversation, last time it was brought up, we have added our counselors, but we need to train them on what that looks like. Most of the time, they will not be like a lead incident manager. They will be the next step. So administration will read what it is and decide, okay, this is more social emotional. Maybe that's something we will hand over to our counselors. If it's more of a discipline situation, that'll be something administration would handle. Once we get it and open it, there's a message board on the side where you can respond to user 365 or, there's no names there, but you can send them a message and then they can send a message back without us ever knowing who we're talking to. Sometimes kids will just say, this is Susie, and then we can call them in and have a face-to-face conversation. But if they don't, if they've named such and such is in trouble or this kid's being bullied in the hall, then we can bring that student in and visit with them and find out more details and work backwards from there on how we need to handle situations. Within it, then you can mark, this has been assigned to someone, this is a pending, this was investigated and found false, this was investigated and substantiated, this was investigated and counseling was occurred, or, we can mark different things within it to close out the incident.
You can pay for this app.
When we first started it, it was through a grant. And so there wasn't any cost to the district. The next year that money went away. So the last 2 years, the district has picked up that cost. New this year with it is a help section. So if a student just needs someone to talk to, or they're looking for resources for help, the 911 or the 988 crisis line is in there. And then there's also a national link in there. And that is manned also by this company, this tablet company. So if they reach out with something in a crisis mode, someone will respond to them, kind of a chat back and forth situation like the 988 text. So
is it like a monthly fee, like how you have like a ring?
I honestly don't know that answer because I just write a PO and say.
So that's probably what it
Annual subscription.
Annual.
And it does have some other pieces to it that we don't use. Like it has a broadcast feature, but we have Thrill Share already that we have to broadcast messages out to our community. And so that's not a feature we purchased with it. We, at the beginning of, I can't speak for the other schools, but at the beginning of each semester, we show a video where we do a flyer or have a little communication with students about it, just to remind them what it is and how to use it at the beginning of each semester. Kind of like when we go back through our Tiger expectations, just to remind them, what are our expectations. Here's how you can make a report, or here's how you can ask for some help. It's in our handbooks, information. So, and we will send out the emails that have like on yours, you'll see a QR code. They can get on their phone and QR code that if they don't already have it to download the app. So it's been a nice tool. There's been bullying been reported, there's been vandalism reported, there's been such and such student needs help. It's not maybe a tool that's used every day, but it kind of ebbs and flows of how often people or what's going on in the kids' world as to reports that are there.
Is the app installed on Chromebooks?
Yes, it would be like the Blue Book app they use to take assessments or whatever. If they go to their app store, it is there for them. Or they can just go to the website too. Stopitup.com.
The resolution, whatever unsubstantiated, substantiated, however we close it, is that something we can reference later if necessary?
Yeah, like I can go back to all my closed incidents. I can't continue to communicate with whoever sent it in, but I can go back and review the messages that were sent back and forth or what was submitted.
In case it rears its ugly head again.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have principals, now counselors, we have vice principals.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Is Alan on? Okay.
Who-
Would you like him on? I mean, we could add him.
Who all do we have on? Just
So
You-
superintendent, the principals, assistant principal and counselors and SRO.
anybody got a question?
No, I love it.
I like that we added on the counselors. Thank you for doing that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Apple quotes.
So I put this on mainly because it is $58,000 for the board to approve. Also included some information. One, the request from Tim is kind of indicating, explaining where we're at with our teacher devices, 5 years old, running out of hard drive space, and we do get $100 per device discount before Christmas. But Apple is a sole provider through the state. So we don't have to bid because we purchase it off the state pool rate. But he goes ahead and gets quotes to see what's out there. There's, they'll check with like Two Trees, check with, there's a VS something governmental. CW governmental. Sometimes we purchase through those places. But with MacBooks, they're hardly ever going to be Apple. So we typically Apple products, Apple ends up getting it, even though Tim just does due diligence and checks around. But it's like buying a bus, we typically buy them off the school or the state school bus purchasing site because they do all the bidding for us. So anyway.
I have a few questions.
Yes.
Who do we determine gets one of these?
Well, they all have one.
Like educators or everyone employed?
These are for the teacher.
Just the teachers? Okay.
Just the teacher devices. The reason there's 50 is because when some people have come in, the old device wasn't good. So some of our new teachers, some of them have PCs. They don't like the Macs. So, but they all, it's the MacBooks that are the ones that are old. And they're
personally assigned to them, like how a Chromebook is
Yes.
assigned to a child.
Yeah.
Is it their personal computer to use, however, so the storage could be based on their personal things, or is it just school?
I don't know if principals would have any insight on that, but anything on our, even like mine,
Mhm.
I don't have the authority to download things without permission from him.
Okay,
I don't have administrative, I
you can
can't,
see all of that.
right, that
Okay.
way you can't,
Okay.
I can't download something that might have viruses on it.
Right. Okay.
So theirs would be the same
Okay.
way. Now, they may have educational software
Sure.
stuff that. But I can't download programs.
Maybe, got any more questions or would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the Apple quote as presented.
Second.
On favor? 7-0.
Student request.
Student request for early graduation.
Usually. The name.
Okay, so I have a sophomore, Aubrey Conley, that would like to request to graduate a year early. She is doubling up on her math right now and checking credits. She could do it. It's gonna take some extra work on her part. It's gonna take some summer classes to get all of her electives, but she has already accomplished, she'll have her math done at the end of May. She'll have her science done at the end of May. She'll finish her social studies at the end of next year, by the end of next year. And she's got most of her other, like the PE, nutrition, she'll have that completed in December. She has her fine arts completed. So she is on track to make that happen. Her goal is to become a NICU nurse, and she wants to get her CNA as one of her elective classes over the summer and get into that program as soon as possible. I would like to recommend her to have the opportunity to try. If she would not complete all the credits, then what we'd be looking at is probably finishing her first semester of her senior year and be a December graduate. But for if she stays on track with her plan, she should be able to accomplish it. Sometimes things change.
With the class ahead of her.
Yes.
Graduation.
Yes. She would walk with the class of 2027 instead of 2028. We've had a few of these in the past. It's a rare thing, but we have had a couple students that have been able to be that driven and ready to go. But that would be the request we bring to you tonight.
And obviously she has a game plan.
Parents are on board. You think she's socially ready then? I mean, that's not our part.
Yeah, we're not, we're not one to stand in the
Yeah,
way.
if she's driven, we drive home.
Personally, I love what she's going for because it means a lot to me. I have 2 new babies, so that's very exciting that she's doing that. There is a need for that, so I'm very excited for her. It's amazing.
Well, this is a action item.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion that we approve student request for early graduation as presented.
Second.
All in favor? 7-0. Consideration of a resolution for a bond issue.
Ooh.
So you have a stack of documents that are all bond related. And Zach and Elizabeth are here from HTK. One item that you have that Zach will be pulling up is the scope of work that is broken out by building. You have some diagrams of the buildings. You have mill levy information that you've received, prior to. And tonight's discussion is to be able to look through. Does he have ability to share? Yep, there it goes. So the goal is, and I'll let Zach kind of share a little bit about what the document is, but then to walk through and prioritize and have some discussions about the scope of work. Because tonight, ultimately, the board has to decide, do you want to move forward? And if so, you would need an amount not to exceed. And then there's also all of the legal stuff that would include the resolution to be able to move forward with the bond.
And if we weren't to put a number tonight, when would that have to be determined by? Was it December 8th?
Which would be next Monday, which I would
Okay, so we
suggest.
have to have a special meeting.
You'd have to have a special meeting, and I would suggest doing it probably Thursday, because who knows what the weather's gonna be on next Monday.
Yes, never know.
When they said 1 to 2 inches this morning, they,
They were, they meant that one.
I think the other piece of the 8th is that it's the cutoff by the state.
yes,
So you'd have to submit it during the day.
Well, I think that a meeting on the 9th or the 8th was acceptable.
yeah,
Oh,
But if you were to, for some reason, not able to meet that night.
yeah,
okay.
then you'd miss your chance.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I think as Brett mentioned, the point of tonight is really to make a determination on the scope of work that's included in the proposed bond issue, which then relates to a dollar amount. And the spreadsheet that I have up on the screen is what Brett sent out copies for last week, I think it was,
Yeah.
before Thanksgiving. And it's and the way it's organized by, like we saw last time, but in greater detail this time by school. There are a few alternates that we have at each of the, or out of each, but in some locations, some instances. There are some alternates in terms of number of classrooms that could be built, say at like the elementary school. A couple different secure entry options at the middle school. That just affect the scope is generally the same. It just affects how much space we're renovating, so it adjusts the cost slightly. And then it totals down at the bottom. And the way this is set up is that you know, these, if there's a scope item on here that we don't want to do, we can just delete that off there, and that takes that off the list and recalculates the total at the bottom.
So I just want to make sure I understand this. We have to take things off to get to that number so that we know those are the exact things going to be done.
If you said you wanted to do everything that's on the list, that total is
I saw that.
19.7.
Yeah.
But we could say, approve a number, but we don't have to exactly agree with all. I mean, even if we said 22 tonight.
Yeah, you're just saying that we can't
Yes,
spend a
we
penny
can't
more.
exceed. I'm just clarifying.
It's not
for them.
Yeah,
that
so
we have
We
to
can change some of
all
the
of it.
scope items
Okay.
before and
Okay.
advertise it
That's
properly
my word.
for the school
Okay.
district. But I know there's some
These are
things.
projections.
We do have to highlight the
These are
scope.
projected.
Yes,
But then-
but I just wanted to clarify that, watching, because I did get that question. Like, we are not agreeing tonight on the exact scope. We're agreeing on the dollar.
Yeah, I think the
Not
thing,
exceed.
the thing to be careful with is that, you know, we've identified the scope and put dollars to it. We, like in a 4-classroom addition, we can't then go later and say, we're gonna build 8 classrooms.
Right,
and
correct.
expect the money to be there.
Correct.
So it's generally, you know, we'll follow this scope, but in terms of, you know, how the HVAC systems are done, that'll be a question. We've allocated money towards it. That'll be a question that we work through through design. In terms of exactly how those systems, what's the most efficient way to address the need. Same way with classrooms, is it, there's options for two classrooms at one end of the building, or 2 classrooms at the other end of the building, or 4 classrooms. Those are design decisions that can be made once the bond is passed and it's in the design stages there. But tonight is really just to 2 things that you have to come out of this with if you're wanting to pass the resolution is a dollar amount. Really, that's my part, and then the other Clayton's part is the terms of finance and all that, but settling on coming to a dollar amount is the goal of kind of the scope discussions.
Because the language that would be on the ballot, which is the scope, you have an example in here that it's going to say, to pay the cost to construct, furnish, equip, renovate, and make improvements and additions to the preschool, elementary, middle school, high school, vocational ag facilities, improvements and expansion to the athletic, maintenance, transportation facility, including a new track and site building, you know, so that's the scope. The scope doesn't get this detail. Tonight is to be able to say, okay, if we want to accomplish these types of things, here's about how much money we need to put into the question, then not to exceed.
So when I was looking at your tax impacts that Clayton was giving you, and understanding.
Yes, and we'll walk through that.
Yeah, we went through that, I think.
You gotta remember, you're not approving a bond.
No, we're just
Right,
improving it
just
on.
the amount.
Exercising
Want it.
democracy, putting it back on the people, like,
Yeah,
it's really not, it's.
So would it help to walk through kind of what's at the preschool, at the elementary, and kind of have some conversations about that to kind of then say, okay, well, where would that put us? It's really,
I guess, or if there's questions about maybe specific items, what that means, or, you know, things that maybe you say, we don't think that's a need, we don't think that's something that should be included in the bond issue, then we can, you know, we can pull that out. I think that some of I can go over, so like at the preschool, the option, there was discussion about relocation of the district office to that building. We've got that as an alternate option. That's
I also think the bus canopy was something we all heard a little something about. I'd be curious what it looks like if we remove that. We can see the value in that, but I don't know.
That's
that-
not in your total though, correct?
That's
The
in the-
alternate option.
Okay, fine.
the bus canopy is in the.
Okay.
Okay, but like the.
Okay.
Do those people opposed to that park their vehicles in the garage?
I don't know the answer to that.
Saying,
I
a
don't.
lot of money wrapped up inside a fence that
I hear you.
covered in snow today.
I hear you.
That wasn't
I know.
directed at you.
So like the relocation of the district office to the preschool, that is not included in that total right now, but.
The total on the left has all of those alternates included, the total on the right is without the alternate.
Correct.
Okay.
So the 22.4 includes all the alternates.
Whereas the 19 hasn't included the alternates, but everything else has been included, including the bus barn for community.
So if you guys have been over all these on your own, we don't need to necessarily need to go back over every line item on preschool, or we can do that. Or if you've got questions on preschool, what are those?
What is a RTU zoned?
So
What is that?
RTU is a rooftop unit, so
Okay.
that is replacing the PPAC, the in-wall units. And as a zone system, it is a rooftop unit that serves multiple rooms.
Okay.
So one question that, or one clarity, if you look and see that low voltage IT upgrades. If you remember, I think it was last month when Tim King and Brandon Riddell were here to talk about, okay, in the event of a bond, here's all the tech upgrades. It was around 800,000. That's what low voltage IT. It's battery backups, it's bell systems, it's phone systems, and that's been allocated per building to kind of address the types of things Brandon and Tim were sharing at the board meeting last month. I had to ask, what's low voltage? Well, it's a,
Well, it's not gonna shock you.
it's an architectural term. I told my wife I'm gonna start speaking in low voltage.
Good idea.
Clarifying, this seemed to be still to this day, a huge issue that these numbers are not bids. These are budget projected numbers, but like, if the public would get a hold of this, we're not approving,
Right.
these aren't bids.
Exact, nope.
Because that still seems to be a hangup from the prior one. You have to have a forecast of what we approve.
Yeah.
Could you confirm or deny that?
That's correct.
Yeah, and so these are not bids, they're estimates, but knowing that, we can't be the low bidder on right now. I mean, we need to make sure, because we still want to accomplish this amount of work, and we can't say that we need another $3 million or whatever at the end of it to accomplish this. We've got to be confident in our numbers right now to be able to accomplish the work that gets promised in the bond issue. So any savings that happen through this process, it's your money. It goes back into either potentially addressing additional HVAC systems or additional scope items that maybe weren't in the original list, or savings go back and pay the bond down as well. At the discretion within the language of the resolution to how that gets used.
Wonder. And I know you know this, but I'm assuming that since we're doing this and we're going to approve a number, that these weren't like the lowest possible budgeted line items. We are ballooning them to account for like the time that it would take to get to it and the bidding process. So
Yep.
You're not expecting us to hold bidders to this pending amount.
Soft costs and contingency.
I just want to hear
That pays fees, that pays contractors. Like Zach said, hopefully, it will still be bid. So hopefully it comes in a little bit under that. And one of these line items that didn't make the cut, now that gets done.
I just wanted to be on record saying.
So these fees, like 16%, does that include construction management at risk as well?
That would be, that's assumed that.
That's them doing all of those things, every line, right?
Yeah, it's got fees, soft costs, it's good, furniture, fixtures and equipment. There are several things in there that you don't necessarily see, but will end up being cost to the project. And that money can only come from this.
And then looking at utilizing a construction manager.
I think that was the hang up a little bit last year was, if you use one or not. And I don't know if we ever really talked about that in full depth of what projects could we do on our own versus just, I think that's where you see the inflated numbers. I think that was kind of misunderstanding was so last year was 21.5 million. And that is if you're giving the entire project construction management at risk, right? Because you have to pay those fees. And I think that.
And we should help you identify some projects that can be, it's more easily bid out, that kind of thing, if you want to use.
No,
for
for
some
sure.
bigger stuff.
I just think people didn't understand construction management at risk. So when you see, $80,000 for lights, that's assuming that CMAR is doing that entire project versus a lot of community members who are like, well, shoot, we could probably go find lights cheaper
Right.
than $80,000.
And there's lots of things that go into lights.
Yeah, so just trying to make that transparent on that end is these fees, the 16% furniture, all those things, the difference behind that and what those numbers really look like.
We didn't spend the entire amount of money on the last bond.
Yeah.
We held it for a while. I mean, I don't know how much I love, we paid it off, we paid it down early. But like they didn't, I wasn't here when that happened, but like they didn't spend all the money. Yeah. So.
I do. Can we expand on, I'm
There's
just
two
going
areas.
building by building, just because that's how my brain works. On the elementary school, there's an office edition. We expand on, I don't know who needs to expand on that. I'm just curious for more information about that.
So I can start, and then once you have anything to add to it, I think that.
It was kind of a surprise to me, so.
Okay.
I'll let you go first.
Okay, so the offices, and we see this at a lot of schools, is that schools are often deficient in conference room type space, meeting space, in their buildings. Oftentimes that can get picked up in an office renovation or an office expansion. Oftentimes doing the secure entry points, we also look at what else are you deficient in from a building administration standpoint, and are we able to build that into the work? And so that's what that expansion would be, is to pick up some of those things, whether it be meeting rooms or nurses' offices or other things that you're needing, or that you're finding people are using the closets for counseling or other things like that.
If we were to, for example, not do the office edition, would that affect our security entry renovation cost? I mean, I know it's an estimate, but you had just mentioned that sometimes that's a thought within the expansion.
I think it could be, it could scale that back.
I think it has the third line, secure entry renovation, 84,000.
Yeah.
But if we weren't to do the office administration, would we need to add funds to that secure entry renovation? Or would we still be in an okay area?
I think this was, a majority of this was the addition, and then some renovation space.
I have a quick question. Am I just blind? Where's the parking lot for the middle school fix? I'm still not seeing that in here. Because I was told that had to be in the bond. Is that something we can do with it, or no, because it's not listed? Because I see high school getting their parking lot fixed. And I also don't see HVAC for middle school, but I see that.
I think
Locker
it's a
room
typo,
HVAC
because it
for high
says
school.
replace gym heating, but if you look on the.
Yeah, it says
On
right
the
here, it
image,
says
it's
gym
the
heating,
HVAC.
not- Yeah, but then it's.
RTU zone for 10 classrooms would be 10.
Okay, heating, yes, gym heating is HVAC.
Okay.
So that's included. I just want to make sure it's not, we're just doing
Yeah,
heating, we're
I
doing.
guess to your question about parking lot, we do not.
That
have
was what I
a-
was confused
A
about.
line item specifically for parking lot.
That's where I was.
Now,
15 is where
it would fall under the scope
So we
of
could,
work
okay,
if there were funds available. But it's,
I just watch cars like bottom out
if
daily.
you would wanna make sure that there was funds available, you would have to put a dollar amount to it, which would increase your.
Yeah, and we're already past. I'll rip the Band-Aid off there real quick, but we're already past. What? We were at 19,020, didn't go.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I was looking like at more like 15-ish is the
Yeah.
number I was kind of
When are
thinking.
you gonna go down and cross out?
I know, that's my thing. I'm looking.
Oh, I
don't
have
know.
been.
Well, I'd love to have that conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just going off of, because we are elected by the community to speak for the community, not for our personal being. So that's what I'm being, is a community speaking person right now. Not saying it's what I prefer. I'm just being, I was elected to be a community speaker. So that's what I'm doing here. And when I go to all of the meetings, which I've attended, these are things that people didn't want. I think that if we cross out some of these things and still get majority of what we need, we're gonna get a bomb.
I'm asking what on here don't we need, cause I think this should be 4 pages long.
Oh, I'm
Well,
not
I
saying we
agree.
don't need it. I'm
I
just saying
agree.
things we could go without.
I agree, but we gotta.
Let's talk about that.
We gotta, I think, make a budget.
Yeah.
Can we go building by building then? Because I
Yeah.
think then
I
that will
agree.
help for your questions and it'll address it.
So we don't have to go one by one. I'm
No,
just
we can
curious,
just
like,
go building by building. I'm
Because
curious too.
I'm gonna guess that every single line item that we bring up to scratch is going to get someone else in their feels about it, cause they'll probably argue against it. Good point. We are representative the people that elected us, but
So
that didn't matter last year.
I know, but I.
We're
feel like we
just
did-
giving them the opportunity
Mhm.
to. All we're doing is coming up with a number.
Mhm.
We are not married to any one of these.
Right. But if we want it to pass this time, we have to do a number we think will go.
So what on the preschool, does anybody have any concerns about the preschool other than the alternate option? Because I don't know that I agree with.
I don't, just for now, it's not a need.
I agree with that.
I was looking at secured entry renovation. Windows are important. If we can't see what's coming,
Sure.
it's on us,
Yes.
but could it be done? And I don't know what that number entails, but I just felt like,
The 215,000,
yes,
that's
I don't know.
windows across the front. And then that's what's currently the IT office, turning that, renovating that into a main building office.
Okay. Getting out of the hallway.
Getting out of the
Out of the
hallway,
hallway.
renovating that into an office. Just like every other building has an office when you walk in.
Yeah.
But there'd be windows across the front
Yeah,
and renovating just the front entrance.
Yeah.
Including that.
from my standpoint at the preschool, there's not too much on there to cross off. And I can't, I do have things to cross at the elementary school. So just my life over there this year, those all are pretty quiet.
Okay. Do we have any suggestions on what they don't think that needs to be included?
I just crossed off the one thing I thought we could. do
Yeah,
without it.
and I
Wasn't
agree
even
with that.
included.
Yep, I agree with that.
I feel good about that.
So elementary school then?
Elementary school, for my take on it, as much as I would like to have a meeting room, and I'm sure the nurse's office, they share a space. I don't disagree with what they're saying, but, that office was remodeled not too long ago. It is functioning, it's bigger than it was. We're doing okay. I mean, I had a little fella, visiting my office today all day long, and I would love to have another space for him for part of the day. But, that's what we live in. When it comes down to trying to get that 22 down to wherever, that's two areas I could give up. Now, classroom space, two things to say about that, and that is, I really, to do what we want to do to create classroom space, I need 2 classrooms down by 2nd grade and 2 at the end of 3rd grade. The picture that shows 4 is representative of 4, but it needs to be 2. Yeah, it's like 2 left shoes. So it's 2 brand new shoes, but one just doesn't work. Now and I don't know what I'm saying. I'll let them address it. There's a cost.
Yeah.
If you build all in one space, or if you build in 2 places. So the cost of those 4 rooms being split will probably be somewhere in the middle of what's advertised.
And that's the thing, is like we can, the most efficient is to build all 4 together, but if that doesn't work operationally, we need to do what's best operating.
Now, I've penciled it, I've looked at it, I haven't committed to a plan, but when I do a rough run through of where I put everyone, just not people, but grades, I end up with 2 extra rooms on one end, but I need 2 rooms on the other, yeah,
So if you look at the plans, and again, this is just examples.
Sure.
It's showing you could fit 2 on the playground side. If you wanted 4 altogether, you have room over there. But, Matt said today, one of the architects, a new example, I didn't get it printed because it was like 4 o'clock. Just example, you could put 2 on each end, but the cost will go up because you're doing construction 2 different places.
Breaking into 2 different sides of the door.
Yes.
But, and those are things that we will absolutely refine as we refine scope, so.
Yeah, that's a little
super
too far
doable.
down the weeds right now. The last thing I have is the new entry canopy, which I believe was part of, if the front end gets remodeled, you put a new canopy. The canopy is important on those rainy, snowy, windy days. But you know, I don't know that a new one is needed if
Well,
we're not doing-
you're gonna need a new one now because
I might have heard about that too. He called me.
they were painting snow. You now have 1 post holding up the canopy. And it might be
You're
a,
getting a new one.
I was kind of
it might
trying
be
to
a
point that
4x4 holding the other side up that
Yeah.
are headed into town.
Yes, there.
So the canopies listed are permanent
That's right.
structures.
Anything else from the board on the elementary that you're seeing questions about?
I think we could save 600,000 right there with the office edition.
So I took that off
Okay.
the list there.
And so I, repeating what Zach said, but once he takes the X off, it takes off the bottom, so we'll have a row.
Okay, good.
So that'll
Perfect.
be in.
Thank you.
So if you have to do 4, you can't just do 2, or what are,
For the classrooms,
uh-huh.
no, you can do 2 on, you can do 2 on either side. Or I think
Or
you're right,
just
4
2
times.
now. You know what I'm
But
saying?
here's the
Like,
thing, this is gonna be
What
for
happens?
So
20 years,
4
so I think-
classrooms is 2.5.
that's ours.
Imagine what a classroom is gonna
2
cost.
classroom is 1.3. So
Mhm.
you could unclick the 4 and click the 2 and it's gonna read populate.
Okay,
Except for just 2 classrooms, so.
Right, that's just for 2 classrooms
Right.
instead of 4.
okay.
So for now, we would leave that second alternative off because we want that, we want the 4 instead of 2.
What are we putting in those rooms? Do we know?
He's got a plan. That's not our job.
Well, I think just to help.
Are we
represent-
really talking about 2 versus 4? I'm confused.
I think 4 is a no-brainer, but I also.
Yeah, I do too. I was just asking if.
I was confused what we were doing. I'm like, let's not skip over that one.
Yeah, no,
No.
we're talking
Or
about,
just, yeah.
so then the middle school. As you look through that. Anything you've got questions about or?
The whole building needs.
So
Can't
one,
cross anything.
so one thing, if you look at the map of the middle school, you'll see middle school, the renovation of yes, secure entry renovation, which is the first line, is renovating that whole area, including the library and redoing it all. The alternate down here is leaving the library. Alan Dick is losing his classroom regardless,
Right.
which would go over in one of the new. But then, so the secure entry renovation A, which is an alternate, is over here on the side. Leaving the library and renovating, so you wrap the office around so they still see the front. So that's just the difference between.
The smaller area to renovate.
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying, Brad, is that we, instead of the just over $1 million, if we wanna take that number down. we would take that off, but add $526,000 for
So it'd be
secure
half-
entry.
yeah.
Right,
So
Usually
it's half price, less work and half price, depends on what you want.
because you're renovating half the area, but you're leaving the library where it is. But you're swinging the office around where Alan Dick's classroom is, so you still can see the
They can
front
still
parking.
be out.
Yes. So I just wanted you to know what the difference, you can see on the map
Right.
what the difference is.
Again, just curious, 4 classrooms, how did we land on 4 classrooms for middle school?
2 for growth,
Okay,
1 for Alan that'll be displaced, and 1 bringing art out of the
Yes.
gotcha.
BoE. So they're really getting 2 classrooms for growth. The other 2 is bring art over. And the other 4 classrooms, the difference between this option for the 4 classrooms and this one is not a lot of money, but in this picture, the 2 back classrooms have a little more square footage. Just to accommodate that, art typically takes more square footage. If you want to make them the same size and save a couple $100,000, make them all 4 the same size.
Okay,
But this option is a little more, and that's just because you're making that one deeper because of art.
I got you. Right.
so if we, I mean, if we want to go with the alternate solution for the entry, that would give us more funding than for your parking lot situation.
Yeah.
If we wanted to keep it around that same. Just think about it.
Yeah, we're still getting the same. Yeah, without completely.
I'm fine with that. It makes sense to me.
To look at the alternate instead of.
Do I use the alternate? No.
I mean, do we leave that in there though, at least for now, just so that we can have some kind of representation of what roughly would a parking lot cost? It would be.
Yeah, I need to look at it and get put a price in there.
Oh.
And so what I would do, I took out the larger renovation for the office, included the smaller renovation for the office.
Well, that's my thoughts. Did you guys, I mean, what?
No, I agree, I mean,
It may be a wash if we left those dollars.
Yeah.
Go smaller, so.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
But for now, I think for scope purposes, let's illustrate it as we intend with the smaller office renovation and then the noted parking lot, I need a number.
And I don't want to speak for Brad's money, especially when he's not saying that. But you know, within capital outlay, there are some things that I would guess that will be done as part of this project that otherwise we would have had to put some capital outlay dollars into.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
this grant may free up some capital outlay dollars for things like.
That's all we do around here. For 31 years.
So middle school, we got that one.
High school?
The HVAC into the locker rooms. How come we didn't do that when we did the whole HVAC?
I think that was one of the things that was, but that, I mean, it's
Oh,
not
back
there.
then, I was.
It was not there.
If I remember right, isn't it a ventilation issue? Isn't it just
Mostly-
recirculating
I mean,
air?
it's ventilation,
Yeah.
but it's, the HVAC is at its age to be replaced.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think it has, I think it's just heating in there.
So
Believe-
I just found this
Surprised
out
they're feeding them.
because I didn't go here, that the weight room was originally in that section. If we wanted to put the weight room, would it, I'm just curious why was it originally
End of
moved
the
out?
table, end of this
Okay,
table to the
that-
front of that seat.
That's what I was just trying to figure out, is
Yeah.
if we're putting more money into that area, like, wouldn't be.
Official-
You think it's security
official
reasons?
feedback, They complain about the size. One is the
Yeah.
most 3 at a time.
Okay. That was my question, thank you.
Sorry,
No, that's,
I just didn't know if you'd ever been in that room.
No, I haven't, but
I have.
I feel
It
like
needs ventilation.
I feel like we have when we took our building tour, no?
I don't know if we were up.
I've
to
been
get
in
into
there.
No, okay.
I've been in it before, but I was just curious what the reasoning
I've been
was
in it.
originally behind that.
20 other sweaty people had lift weights.
Um,
Fun.
Piece of equipment.
this, existing locker room hallway renovation, is that this out here?
And what are we gonna do?
All the way down
Yes.
by the gym.
No,
This
this one
right
right
here.
here, just for
This.
the walker.
Yeah, that is that, sort of locker common area, and it is, taking those lockers out, renovating it into kind of student common space that gives them space outside of the class, a lot of times, just learning space outside of the classroom.
Flexible space, but they can kind of gather, the schools love that, kids are loving those smaller.
I get it.
Soft seating areas.
Well, I'm curious.
I get it, but that's 500,000 to me. This-
Curious, if we
That's
have an
right.
organization
That's
already fundraising for that exact purpose. What happens to their funds they've been raising? That kind of pops back to our fundraising question. Cause isn't FBLA trying to raise funds to do this? Like do something cool out there?
They've gotten that far. Well,
Okay.
about, but if we get renovate that area is to have a storefront for them, but I don't think they have progressed far enough that they're earning money towards that yet.
Okay.
But if they get
How long have they
that,
been talking or entertaining that idea?
Me?
No, have they, like, has that been discussed?
I've probably 5 years.
5 years. Let's cross it off then.
so if they.
People in the know been talking about it for maybe 5 years.
The
We
things
should
between where
totally
they do
cross it.
raise some funds, they can contribute those funds towards the project, even though, because it's not gonna be a specific outline scope within the
I just wanna
ballot.
make sure they'll be able to use their fund. for-
Especially like
for new
furniture and stuff like
policy, da, 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 da.
So could we cross it
Yeah.
off and then it could be one of those, if we end up having enough money, let's look into doing this. You know what I mean? Like if
After the-
something's cheaper.
So one
Might have to
question
fight me on this.
I have.
Let's
So that's
talk
the
about
lockers and stuff, the lockers aren't
Cool.
fully used, correct?
They're not used.
Not use it all.
Rhonda, how many of those lockers are currently being used?
Maybe 10.
Are
A lot of
those
space opportunity
300?
there, I get it, it's 500,000, I get what you're saying, Matt, it's also just an opportunity, you've got a lot of space there, and students really are enjoying that space, so that's my 2 cents, whatever you
Yeah.
do, it's great.
So on the speaker and intercom system, so it's a district-wide system. So I know I already talked to Rhonda a little bit about it, but it's all connected. So I guess I'm curious of the thought process behind replacing this, which is relatively new. I mean, I guess it's almost 10 years now, 8.
Need everything.
So this is a district-wide, intercom system that operates kind of collectively so they can do district-wide lockdowns, bell schedules, all that stuff. Each building has an independent like server where they can do their own bell schedules, but it's still all kind of tied together. So I'm just curious behind the thought of separating the high school and how you would continue to make sure that it's all integrated.
Or is it?
One through
all
three
there
is relatively
under the
low
high
for
school?
What?
Or is it all there under the high school? Because after,
No way.
No, I think,
No, they're
I
all
think this,
broke down
this
into
was
it.
identified as being for the high school.
Mhm, okay.
The intent would be that it would still tie into,
So maybe the same system, just an upgraded one?
yes.
And these numbers came from, correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, came from the group that spoke.
Tim.
IT. Thank you. that
So I
spoke.
think you were,
Yeah, you had that one.
it was Tim King and Brandon when they presented
I was
that our
glad they did
biggest
watch it.
issue
Yeah, that
out there
helps
at the
us understand
school
it.
is everything, they kept pointing to that room over
Mhm.
So that was identified by them and they gave us budget numbers that we put into here, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not something we necessarily identified,
Maybe
but
it's
it's
just upgrade
needs.
of the same system.
Mhm.
I think it would be upgraded,
Okay.
and I don't know if there's a.
133 seemed a little light if it was all new.
Right.
Wire speakers, servers.
And I think it helps it, integrate better with.
Mhm.
I think it was more of a backup because they said if this goes down, then it all goes down.
Yeah, and they were like,
But
it's based off of Windows 97.
Well, there's something,
something.
yeah.
Okay, this cruise. Sorry.
On the canopy, is that to pull down the existing and put up a brand new? 'Cause I knew that was a structural thing too, wasn't it, with that
Yeah.
canopy?
This one up here?
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
it's like falling apart. Nothing else, I suppose.
Yeah.
The way.
Nothing.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
the
on
WAG
high
makes
school?
sense. Oh, yeah, we're on.
I said, oh, we all good on the high school?
Yeah. I saved it. Ag, leave it.
Leave everything in there, is that what you're saying?
But you guys were, if we were to do a renovation of the ag building, I mean, are you pulling everything out and then putting everything back in, or are you putting new equipment in there, or I mean. I don't know what's in there besides a bunch of welders and.
So, did you tour it?
No.
Oh, you must.
Yeah. Sure it's bad.
I think,
No, it's the
I
worst.
think you can walk up in there before.
I don't want
that. It's a,
I spent like a semester.
it's a full.
Even at 50 years ago, you know.
Well, they don't have room to put it in.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it needs.
Mhm.
I think I'm good with the ag building.
I crossed nothing off on that one.
But then athletics, everybody likes to talk about athletics.
I think we are
Grab
missing
it.
something big on the football and track, and that is the AV system.
Yes.
So I
It
think that's,
cuts in and
I
out.
think that's the
So
low
bad.
voltage.
Okay,
Maintenance upgrade.
thank you. That was.
But that also includes,
Speakers.
Because it is
It
bad.
is horrible.
I
I
mean,
even understand those.
stuff at the football field, but also upgrades at the maintenance transportation, their sockets. So that was part of. Him and Brandon also share upgrades that need to be added at the maintenance transportation, as well as the locker room area. The Wi-Fi is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, that's.
Or maybe what's not in there, the AB. That what I'm.
Well, I mean, if you think anything, I just think about the speaker system and all that, or the track, it's just horrific, and they use it frequently.
Yes. For, not just for track, for.
I think the real question is adding lanes or just replacing the track, because if you don't add 2 lanes,
You can't post.
then well, I'm just talking about cost wise.
Right.
I think that's gonna be a big question.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot.
2.68 million saved if you don't add 2 lanes. That's including new bleachers, moving bleachers.
I see.
I'm a fan of having an 8-lane track to be more competitive in the district, in the region. I mean, we can't really host a lot of things with six lanes. It's worked in the past, right? It's worked for the last how many ever years. But we have people turning away.
We right now have, not because it's only a 6-lane track, that refuse, they will not come here for F West hosted track meets. That's been going on forever.
Yeah, middle school got canceled last year.
And I can't really blame them. Pull it up on Google Earth or Google Maps in an aerial view, there's more of 35-year-old track than there is the new one.
So
If you're gonna go in there, you'll have to repair everything underneath of it. Cause it's all chipped away and broke. It was recessed back to fit an 8-lane track once the bleachers were moved, like when they did the lights. I mean, what if this becomes a need 10 years from now? When you're gonna be in there doing all the work.
What happens if you take the 8-lane track? And then just move our bleachers back?
No, I messed up.
Then we gotta move the shack. Which I want to, cause I
But
wanna be
if
able
you'll
to.
recall, the bleachers are in a really not good
Okay.
shape. Like the
Our home bleachers are not?
correct. I recall multiple conversations surrounding those bleachers, and they're not in good shape.
Yeah, I think if they take them, move them, they're going down.
they may not make the move.
No, I don't think I'm gonna move.
I don't see them.
I just said it, I'm not.
Honestly,
There's only a standing section.
yeah,
You get a
don't take away the
Let's be
standing.
right.
thing.
It's 970,000 if you total, if you add the 2 lanes with the bleachers and everything.
Let me ask you this.
That's kind of It's
For-
not peanuts, but
For those of us that sat through those community engagement meetings, what did we hear about the track?
They were not having it.
I
I heard
think it's
both.
split.
I think it is.
I heard
split. It's
like
just
10%.
I didn't hear anybody for
I didn't hear a lot of positive towards.
I have a kid that does
Other than
track,
from
so I
track.
love it.
How many,
The community-
how many kids, well, you're new. Roughly, or anybody can guess how many kids participate in middle school track and also the number for high school track? And do we have any kind of record of how many people utilize that track within the community on a daily basis?
So this is all things that I know. You know that I know.
Well, I know that. I'm actually, every time I talk for everyone else.
I know.
I'm not, if
I know.
if I seem combative to each
No.
one of you, I am not coming at you.
No, I'm
I
just trying to
too am
get.
trying to represent the people that I hear from every single
Yeah.
day. Maybe they picked on me the last couple of weeks as they know I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But I've been fighting for this stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
And we're having a very good conversation about it.
Yeah.
And this track has been brought up long before my 10 years on the board.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the community uses it
that track.
a lot.
Yeah, well, every time I'm there, there's people on that track.
Always.
Yeah.
Always
And I'm
people
there
on
quite a
the track.
bit.
I just don't know why people are so against.
Yeah. I don't know that enough would support it, is where I'm at.
Well, then they are not supporting the sport that has the highest participation
highest
year in and year out. I mean, go ahead, take that away. What, some of those kids, they go out for track for the first time and maybe they stick with it. Or maybe it's the only sport they do, whether they're good at it or they're not.
Yeah.
Take it away
I
from,
didn't think my kid could.
because in 3 years, that track
He did.
will not exist.
So I have one thing to add to this discussion, and this only makes our night longer. I mean, the other option is putting some of those athletic things as a second question. I'm not always in favor of second questions, but it also sometimes, if I feel like you're trying to push some athletics on me, I'm just gonna vote against it to be mad. But if you're giving me a choice, I might actually vote yes for both because you gave me a choice. And it's interesting what you say about as many parents for track. Also, if you kind of separate it, that might give those parents that are really want that track more incentive to vote because they're like, oh no, I'm the track parent. I gotta vote for this. I gotta vote yes for this, so I'm voting yes for this. Obviously, and this is up to the district, but a lot of times it's if question 1 passes, then question 2 can pass. Question 2 cannot pass without question 1. We're not gonna give up all of our academics to only have a track.
So
Do
what
you
would
have any idea
what
what
it
the
read?
inflation of the construction over like year to year or a 5-year, 10-year period would be like, oh, we don't do it this time. 5 years later, we've got to do it. What do you suppose like
Normally.
a
we would see
safe percentage of
track?
Yeah, normally we would see between 3% and 4%. That's what.
Annually?
Per year.
But I'm saying doing 2 questions together to make that
Well,
clear.
no, I get what you're saying.
You're at, yeah.
I'm just trying to put out there that
So in the
when the
event,
track is completely unsafe for anyone, soon, 5 years from now, we are looking at a 3 to 5, give or take % increase in the cost to do it year after year after year. I mean,
I will say in the community engagement, I think everybody was on the same page with replacing.
they were
The
that
existing-
100% they were.
So I
No
would
one
keep that
denied that.
for sure.
Yes,
The discussion was adding 2 lanes,
that's where they got.
adding the bleachers, moving bleachers.
I think I think the bleachers have to happen. We saw the momentum building, and I've already seen it going into our winter sports. The momentum is building around supporting because support present now, but we also, that is a community event place, is that facility. And I think if we didn't do it, we'd be kicking ourselves for not replacing bleachers that are in a horrible condition.
So if you just added everything on there, where are we sitting at?
Adding all of these.
Yeah.
You'd be the 18.5.
That's $3 million less than last year. And that's addressing all the needs that we need.
The breakdown
I
of
don't
the,
think- I
like
don't
a
think
monthly
that'll go.
I don't think it'll go.
I don't think it will either.
it's not your job to determine that.
But
We went through the needs.
But we need it.
Well, if we throw this back
we need
out
it.
there again for 18.5 and it go, and we don't, and it doesn't pass.
But sometimes we need like urgently, sometimes we need, but we don't need it as urgently. The things that we need urgently, so we need this to pass.
We need
Yes,
to freeze
that's what
the
we're
trip.
The number I have in my mind.
I'm with
Way
you,
over
what you're
that.
saying.
Again,
It's like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not-
So, but like.
So if you were to go to a second question,
So if you took all that off, you're at 15.3 or 15.4. And then that's 3.2 be what this, for those items, could be a second question.
I think we need to replace.
The replace the track thing.
I think
everyone
has to be
agrees.
there.
That has to be
Well,
there.
and that's the one we can talk about a grant with, like there's a possibility we get a grant for that and
But
we
it
don't
needs
even
to
need
be
to do it.
It needs
But
to
if
be
we
added.
don't
It
do
needs
it,
to be
yeah,
added.
I'm fine, if you guys are all comfortable with that and think that that can pass.
The track has to be replaced. Now, the lanes is what I think people will balk at. Maybe that's where we can decide.
What is you guys' experience with two questions? Is it split? Is it pretty heavily?
I don't have a very good answer for that because it really just kind of depends on the districts. As you've probably heard me say, like in some of my districts, if you don't have athletics in them, nothing's not gonna pass.
Yeah,
Some, or if you
right.
have athletics in there, it's not gonna pass. And
Right.
so it just kind of depends on your district. The only thing I might caution you with is I agree with what you're saying on the track, that absolutely needs to be replaced. It gets a little confusing when that track replacement is in the first question, and then the second question is adding 2 lanes. If to making sure we can communicate
I
that well
gotcha.
to the public.
Yep, I
That-
gotcha. That makes sense.
Anyone other than an interest in the track, you give them an option to add 2 lanes or not, but we don't have them now, the heck with it. I mean, why would anyone vote in favor of that? Because they're not in this seat. They weren't elected to learn the why.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
our
whether
job
we do
to
that
tell
or
them.
not, that's fine, but
Exactly.
Yep.
it's $400,000 now. Compound that interest.
Well,
you
yeah,
got-
something has
Well,
to
it's
be.
when
We'll
you-
get someone to come forward and pay for it.
If you were 10 years from now to go to add additional lanes to the track, it's gonna have to be resurfaced.
You'd redo
It's gonna have
You'd redo the whole
to,
thing.
exactly, the entire,
It won't go though.
At one time, when they did the bond to renovate that area, do the bus barn or whatever, I didn't even live in the county when that happened, but they knew that this was gonna be something and they intentionally recessed the lighting and everything to expand that track when the time came to do it. The track didn't need resurface at the time. So we are now pretending as if we know more than the people that came before and that group of people in the community and those boards. This has been, the point I'm making is clearly, how long ago was that? The one that the bus barn was built on and all that. Back then, they needed it, they knew they needed it, but they didn't want to tear up the track that didn't need it, but now we know better. I'm not saying, I get it, we're trying to save money, but
Not actually what I'm
Nope.
saying.
well, I know, but like the one athletic thing, the
No.
cheapest of them all, well, except for the BoE, that has been a need for, 2 decades.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Scrap it, because people don't want to vote for athletics. I mean, again, not fucking, I just don't understand what we're doing, like. We're trying to save money and put a number out there. There were 1,000 people that voted in favor of a much bigger number, and there was a little bit more that voted against it. I think we all know one of the factors at play back at the other one. I don't know if that vote was necessarily all about that bond. Some of it was, a lot of it was, but I guess it's just my opinion. I don't know. I'm gonna be out of here. It's your responsibility now. But we blow through capital outlay on front doors out of a
Yes,
building.
we agree.
We didn't buy freezers at the beginning of the year when we needed them. I mean, just go down the list of
We
all
just
the
can't
district
afford
money
to
that is
swing
wasted.
and miss again.
How could,
Cannot.
but we
well, why
can't
not? You throw
afford
it
to
back on there
put
again.
out a bond issue that isn't gonna cover our needs.
What
For the
isn't
next 5
covered though?
years.
Well, it's
I
not
guess I
saying in
heard
5
what's
years, 7
not
years, you
covered.
can't go do another one.
That's what.
Absolutely
Yeah,
can.
I'm confused where we're going.
But we
Well, you
can't
can
afford
if you
to,
fail.
but we
You
can't
can
afford
turn
to,
around and throw it back on there again.
we can't afford to have it fail.
What? Why not?
Well, Because we
I mean, you don't
we're out of
want
money.
to, I'm just saying, like, if people. Alright, I guess I just think of it differently. I don't know how you go through a list and identify the need of every one of those and sit up here and say, nah, we don't need it.
Yeah.
Well, what? Because we're afraid of a couple $100,000 or more? If people vote on it and they want to pass it, they're gonna vote on it because they know that the needs are there and they're gonna pass it. They don't care if it's 20 or 16. The people that are gonna vote, how can you speak for all these people? You don't know. I don't know either. I'm saying
No,
if
we're
they
just
go
speaking
and
for
vote
the
in favor.
community engagement ones, because we attended them and we've heard them saying like.
Well, I didn't know
they-
anything. I had my
they
head in
can't
the sand.
afford
And
it.
there were tables who were completely for this.
At the 8-lane track,
Yes,
I didn't hear that.
There were.
there
We're
was.
track out. We're
Almost
scrapping
full
other
right
things.
side
All
was
I
all
heard
about
was
it.
property
It won't be
taxes,
on me.
rawr, that's all I heard. Yeah,
I didn't hear as much in favor of the.
I didn't either. I
Maybe-
heard needs resurface.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trust me, my kids are all about track. I would vote for that, but I'm just saying, I don't think the community
That's my
will.
whole point. This was part of that was missing.
So a big issue we had, I heard with the last one was people didn't agree with the additional building in between. And it was, I'm not even gonna get into the details. This was just a minute part of the sporting or the athletics portion. And to me, this is an obvious, I'm with Dave on this. Like, to me, I don't understand why we wouldn't do this. This is an outdoor classroom. I saw Axel taking kids every day. It was nice outside, walking those kids to that track to be out there and be outside.
Nobody says we're not
Yeah.
resurfacing the track.
Yeah.
No, I agree, but I'm saying
wants
with
to
that,
add
like, gotta, like, these bleachers falling apart. I think if we, I don't know that people are gonna balk if we, and throw a huge fit, if it's 18.5 or 16.5. I think when we hit 20 and above was when people were freaking out.
I don't think we can get past 15.
But that's your opinion. Like,
A
Nobody
lot of
knows
people
I
that
don't know
have
anybody.
property taxes out the walls from,
That's not gonna
everything.
change. They
I
went,
know, but I'm just saying.
okay, well, if they don't wanna pay their taxes,
Oh,
then
trust me, I pay tax, I pay a lot of.
I don't.
Lucky, I don't know how you get with
And
that.
for a living, I deal with farmers that are gonna get taxed the most on their ground, and none of them like me talking about this.
Okay, I'll have Brian call you then, so.
So
I'm just trying to advocate for the people that
I,
know we need
We
them.
get
I hear
it, but
ya.
we're trying to advocate for the other half, we're trying to be the happy
You bet.
medium, you're only
So
one
if we
medium.
put it, just for example, if we put all the X's back on that and it's not to exceed 18.5, then we can come back before the election and educate the community on why these things are important. And I think maybe that's where I don't want to underball it. I don't want to put out something for 16 and then all of a sudden be regretting every decision involved with that. And the bottom line is like, my kid plays sports. He doesn't do track. Do I think he doesn't do football? Do I think we need it? Absolutely.
yeah.
And I know a lot of us do.
Yeah.
And I know there are people in the community, but we're not saying this is exactly what we're doing. Right now, we're
Yeah.
putting out a no.
Yeah.
To not exceed.
Well, for the record, I think we need it. I just want to be very clear.
We're at 18.
Exactly.
You got the best canopy.
No, I was
No, that's small.
trying to read the bottom though.
Oh,
18.5.
Oh.
Yes.
sorry.
I don't,
Maybe we sit on filters.
yeah. We seem to all have different
We
opinions.
need to think on it.
Let's think on it. You know, in my mind, I can't see where we can have it fail and put it off another year. That's where I'm at. And I get,
agree.
That's where my.
I get what everybody's saying, and I get it. I totally get it. I think we do need everything on there, but there is things that are gonna have to give. You know, my wife wants an addition on the house. And she has many reasons why we should do things, but there's only so much money you got.
But when you do it, do you make sure not to insulate it, or you just don't put a window on
We
it?
scale it down to where it's what we
I
can
get it,
afford.
I got it. I got it.
And that's what we gotta do with this.
And money.
We have to scale it down. My mind.
Yeah,
I get it. And I get it. I think part of the responsibility though is educating the community on, okay, that's $20 difference a year.
Yeah.
But
For you, that's it, $20 a year.
That's offensive to some people, which
I understand that.
I
but-
understand your argument. completely,
Yes,
For the
yes.
record, and
We're
I agree
not-
with you.
Yes, we're not
100%.
against you. We're contrary to what you think, I'm not swimming in it, so like, by all means.
what's everybody doing this Thursday?
We're going to read night, but
Oh, I have a concert.
We can do it early.
I gotta be more spicy.
We can read night 6. Like if you're,
After school,
I'll be out. If you're.
I mean, if we did 5 o'clock,
Derek will be out of town.
is this something he can call into? Or you would,
Can you call
can
in?
you call into?
What are you doing Thursday afternoon?
If we did it at 5 p.m., would you be able to call in?
I think we should take a few days to talk to the community or see if anybody wants to talk to us about what they heard tonight.
Well,
But what's the number?
I mean, it's very,
We're talking between.
we're there in Washington.
We're talking
Aaron, how
about
many people are on?
60 million, 18. And that's really good.
So I heard a couple people with questions or maybe hearing concerns from the public about the basket canopy.
13, 12, including.
If we do.
I wouldn't.
Or was I wrong on that? I might be very wrong
Maybe
on
the
that.
bus canopy.
They
Yeah, the bus canopy is what she's asking now.
I thought I heard some people having questions about that, but maybe I misheard that. I just,
But
No, that's one that's gonna.
yeah,
I mean, that's a 9.
I thought we pulled that.
No,
Yeah, 900,000. I thought we pulled that.
we still
I
have it
think
on
we
there, but if
had
we
it-
pull it now, where it's
because
at
I-
75.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
75
see.
in the streets.
people,
that's a compromise.
people look. I'm out here, I was at 14.5. Is where I was.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, but I cannot agree to a 14.5. Like
And you genuinely think that the community will get behind that number after what we went through last year? You
Last year
genuinely,
was-
I'm asking you to genuinely think about that. And if you need to take a day
Without
or
a doubt,
two,
because of this conversation here and everything else, and then learning from your mistakes.
yeah,
Like you lose a game, what do? You go get better.
Yeah.
So we've learned a lot. We had community engagement.
Yeah.
Set board goals. We're having this conversation. We're gonna have more stuff. Now we know how to fill in the gaps and get better.
Yeah.
It's communication of this stuff, and it's not focusing on the ones that are know already.
I agree with that.
I mean, we
100%.
focus so much time on a small percentage of people. They might be the most vocal.
Yeah.
Those
If
times
we're gonna-
on social media. But
This
like,
is a not
it's
to
all
exceed-
about execution.
It's a not to exceed number.
Yeah.
And so again, everything on this list is that with the CMA on, right?
Okay.
And there's conversations we discussed last year. What are the things that we can go get ourselves where we don't need a CMA on?
Right, so we could.
Right, this
possibly
is handing
be
it over
under
to somebody that's doing everything, no questions asked, right? So.
There's
it's-
savings, there could be, like technology is oftentimes
So-
something that there is true.
Oh, we
Right.
know, we've heard all this.
Very on what was discussed last year,
Yeah.
the bond in 90 whatever fell short. They ran out of money on certain things. So I think it's a disservice to our community. We don't have a number to give them an option to say, we're not gonna at least we're not gonna fall short.
Yeah.
If we fall short, we look like a bunch of idiots. my opinion.
And we
So I would rather be able to give this message. We did it the right way. We hired an architect. We had all these community engagement meetings. We've heard, we know all the things that we need to fix. Majority of this stuff is absolute need.
Oh, yeah, I,
This is all deferred maintenance stuff. It's been.
we
sitting
all
for the
actually
last-
agree on that. I think we can all agree
So-
on that.
I think it's the messaging of saying, we did our due diligence. We learned from our.
And
from
you
the-
guys are in charge of helping us with messaging.
Yeah,
And we have 4 months to educate our community on the number we said to not exceed.
I get the number looks high, but I mean, if it doesn't, and we wait a year, and then we're not gonna start construction for another year, if this even passes, we're still so far away from starting construction. The cost of things are just gonna continue to go up.
you are.
So at what point is it going to, there's not a good time to do it. I don't think there's a perfect time to do anything like this. But I mean, if we're waiting and continue to wait and deferred maintenance, capital outlay is gonna continue to go, our cash
Inflation,
balances are gonna continue to go down, we're gonna be in a bigger deficit. That we might not be able to get out of.
Yeah.
So at some point, the community needs to understand and we have to be able to take care of these things and set ourselves up for success. We're talking about 20 years from now. So if we do it now, another large bond like this isn't gonna happen for 20 years. So where's our school district gonna be if we don't? We're not gonna be in a good spot. So
And I think too,
if the track is gonna be the thing that breaks us, I highly doubt it. That's my opinion.
but to add to it, to what your point is that this hasn't been a 3-month discussion.
No, it hasn't.
This has,
Absolutely
and
right.
I've heard, you hear people, oh, it's coming up so fast. This has been a continuous discussion and it never stopped happening.
No, it's in our face every month we sit
Exactly,
here.
every day.
Every day we go to the
Anytime.
building.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna look here.
Yeah, let's
So-
go over mill levy.
Let's go over this, the difference in pricing, because that might change some minds.
So if you look at, you got a copy of that?
Yeah.
So if you go across the top, 10 million, 12.5, 15, 17.5, 20. That kind of gives you a ballpark. And then for each one of those, how many mills would a 30-year, a 25-year, or a 20-year? And if you think about what was discussed at the last meeting, we are 15 mills behind the state average. So just trying to help you put it in context. So if you did 17.5 million for 25 years, and I'm just picking that because one's higher and one's lower, that would be 13.15 mils. $17.5 million.
But so. One of the things people don't always understand mills, which is always a
Yeah.
problem with school finance, and I've been 25 years of school finance, is so complicated, it just is. So keeping it round numbers, I know no one here has a $100,000 house probably, but $100,000 house, it's $12 a month. For that 25-year, 17.5 price tag. And so you do the math on top of that, you live in a $200,000 house, $300,000 house, whatever that is. So
Yeah.
that's the math that you're gonna be showing people. Does that make sense?
And the medium home, you'll see at the bottom in our community is 193,000. So if you take a $200,000 home, which is about close to median, that would be 83 cents a day. $25 a month. $302 a year. So that's kind of how
You're on 17.5.
that's 17.5 at 25 years. And then you can,
That's kind of right in the middle of everything.
yeah, it's just kind of, just looking at kind of where you guys were talking. That's the closest example. And last year, you looked at a 25-year bond. So that's why I picked that one, but you could say, okay, well, what if we did 20 years? Be 14.75 mils, or 30 years, 12.2.
That's pretty standard, but we see all three.
We can always pay off, or even if we did 25 years, I
Right.
could absolutely pay off in 15 or 20.
Not just halfway left.
Yeah.
And don't let your bond.
Not much.
Ever.
Yeah.
How you
I was gonna say, I would argue that was a mistake. That was part of
I
it.
think we all.
Seems good on paper and you save money, it makes sense on
So
paper.
between 15 and 17.5 is what, $44 on a year?
Matt, I'm sorry, say that again.
Between 15 and 17.5 on 1 year, $200 median is $44, correct?
44 per
Yeah.
year.
Pretty much, roughly. I see what you're saying. Yes.
So track or no track is the difference of $44 a year. Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That
Well,
does put it in a little bit of perspective.
Well, and that's not.
$3.50 per month.
That's bleachers, that's everything in that last one.
But
minus the
let's
bus.
put it into perspective a bit.
It's dollar and some change a day. That's gonna be different for people that have higher homes,
Right.
higher value homes, but
Commercial
on the
property
median,
versus-
you're looking at $1 and some change a day. Now, I don't disagree with the people with Jefferson County and what they're doing with property taxes, but to me, I'm talking as a patron here. To get all of that stuff, like that's a no-brainer to me, because my kids are gonna grow up here, and
Yeah. And
for
listen,
25 years, you're set up for success.
and I have, my youngest is a junior. I have 1.5 years left with students in these buildings. And I still believe it's our job to take care of these buildings.
Yes.
It's the community's
I
job.
talk to a lot of people that have no kids.
Yeah,
And they
it doesn't
want the
matter.
best for this district. And I
If you
think
support education, this is part of supporting education.
Yes.
It say 16, what kind of revenue would that interest accrue?
16 million?
Yeah.
You're asking about interest that the bond.
Yeah, accrues. Yeah.
Between 900,000 and $1 million.
Okay, at 16, you gain an extra 900 to $1 million. Of interest accrued from the bond.
16 versus,
At 16 million,
okay. So if it would
you would
say-
accrue another 900 to $1 million of the interest of that bond, correct?
Yeah, you would earn $1 million roughly on interest.
So what are we thinking?
Looks like a 2-lane track and move bleachers or anything else scrapped on this, but I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings.
Well, can we?
It's a hurt feelings, I feel like it's just.
Okay, I'm feeling better with 17.5 than I am below that. I mean, honestly, I'd like to go 18.5, but I'm okay with 17.5 if that's what I use today to get this on the map.
My head, when I got here, landed at about 16, 15 or 16 is where my head landed. So if I were to compromise up to 17, I could also meet in the middle.
Because my head was 15, 16.
Like
I was at 14.5.
Man,
Then again, I voted for the 21, so it's like.
You guys had these numbers in your head, and we just went through every building.
I know.
Every
that
part of this, and we're not close to that. So on $2.5 million,
Yeah.
at 17.5. Again, I don't want to fall short here and be stuck in a spot where we didn't do what we needed to do.
So I see the logic. We all, I think, see
Yeah.
the logic. It's
Yeah.
just what can we sell is where I'm at.
We got
I'm
4 months
nervous
to do.
about what we can sell to the community.
But are we allowed to do that? Remember, we can't be out.
Okay,
We
So-
can answer questions.
so before we spend the rest of the night on this, where's everybody at on the number? Let's just do that real quick.
17.
17, where you at? Derek,
I'm at 18.
Aaron,
I could go 17.5.
Ron,
I could do 17.5.
I'm on that number because we went through every line item. And it's gonna
Exactly.
take
17.5, is that what? your number
17,
is?
552, 767. I'm just saying, that's my number.
I agree.
So typically, they want you to round it. I'm just saying.
I didn't want anyone to hear the owl who.
Now listen. On a district of our size, what would, I'm asking, what are the odds? But do you believe something like that would pass? I mean, with what we have gone.
You just got like what, a $65 million pass?
Well, yes, but,
Give us a few of those.
okay, so my own opinion on that, we cannot answer that question.
No, I
We
get
can
it.
answer it, but, what I am gonna say is I'm aware of a lot of bond issues, and so I was aware of this bond issue passing. It wasn't ours, so I didn't pay close attention, but in my head, I thought it failed by a lot. It was in my head because there was a lot of controversy around it. And I think I was hearing the controversy, but when Brad and I met and started talking about this, and he shared with me exactly what the numbers were, I'm like, a lot closer than I thought. I think there were some other factors that kind of went into that and got political. If we can keep it from getting that way, I bet you can turn over those extra few hundred votes. It's far less than you were. You have to be comfortable with it because you guys are selling it. I mean, you guys are the ones standing in front saying, I voted on this, and this is what I think you should pay taxpayers. So it's a tough spot for you to be in. But I think those factors, understanding it was just a few hundred votes, there were some external things, and you have brought the number down, that makes me feel better about it. That's my 2 cents.
And the number's down a year later. I mean, how many things went up? Yeah, like.
Would anybody like to make a motion on a number?
Do you have to read the resolution in your motion?
You ready to start?
So,
So good? That'll be hard.
Yep.
Agreed.
so someone will, there it is. Someone is Aaron ready?
Which one?
Okay.
No, there's another Aaron.
Oh, wait.
There are
We got 3 of them.
One of them went like,
Yes.
which one? So,
You were-
someone will make a move that the resolution be adopted. Someone will make the second. And then the resolution is read. And the resolution is what's in bolds
Who reads
on
it?
this, whoever wants to, but someone needs to move,
Not me.
someone second, someone reads the resolution, and then you take a vote.
What's the number? I make a motion that we. I don't even say. What am I trying to say? Not to exceed 17.
Put forth a ballot option not to exceed.
Put forth the ballot option not to exceed 17,500,000.
Someone second.
Second.
All in favor?
And, well,
I
then
gotta read it.
someone needs to read the
Resolution authorizing
resolution.
and providing for the calling of a bond election in Unified School District number 340, Jefferson County, Kansas, Jefferson West, for the purpose of submitting to the qualified electors of the district the question of issuing general obligation bonds of the district, authorizing application to the State Board of Education for the authority to call the bond election and for capital improvement state aid, and providing for the giving of notice of the bond election.
Who would like to second?
Second?
All in
I
favor?
was waiting to see if I needed to.
7-0.
Okay.
When do we do the term?
When it passes.
25 years, 30 years, 20 years, whatever.
Well, that would be a question you're going to ask.
What's everybody feel is the 30, 25?
I did like was it the 25? What
You said 25 would be 13.
25 is where I figured it
That's what I figured too.
was where I figured the $44 difference is. And if so, what does that look like in a resolution or motion?
Well, that can just be, you don't have to have 25 other than let me know. I will call the bond advisors in the morning and they will update everything else in here.
Give me direction to them.
Is everybody okay with 25 or they got, I mean, this is 20?
I mean,
25 with the hope that it's paid off sooner.
yeah, I'd like to do 20, but that's fine. I mean, 25 if we pay it off sooner.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I guess it's like a 4 or 5 year card.
Yeah.
So
Look good.
Aaron will have. Is your phone going off?
Yeah. What happened, Brad?
I was school canceled already. You're in a board meeting. I was like, what's canceled?
What do you think I've been over here?
God dang it. You're just not like you're battling each other. Oh, you have to free.
We won't have the jamboree. I was writing for the jamboree.
Okay.
So, all right, just a quick update. Typically, when the weather's bad, we don't have events. Tomorrow, I'm calling an exceptionality is because all the county roads are bad in our subdivisions.
Oh, man, it's.
We need the sun to melt and warm up. We will have activities in the evening. We've got one bus in the ditch in Lake Ridge, still there.
Shoots.
Tim Roberts just texted, he just got the canopy fixed at the middle school temporarily, so he was getting ready to go back out.
What's this?
But we just couldn't, and everybody else around us is doing the same, just because county roads are so bad and slick. We get by tomorrow afternoon, we'll be in a lot different spots.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
so you all get to sleep in tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
No.
We got negotiations.
What do we got?
Yes.
Personnel.
I need a bathroom break. Okay, 5-minute bathroom.
Okay, hold on. We got executive session coming up. Can we do the resignations and the contract, same ones, and it won't take long, so it's,
I don't even know if we need to go in for them,
okay.
unless you have questions.
Does anybody,
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Guys, we appreciate
I
it.
don't have any resignations. We
Yeah.
oh, okay. Well, we just got one for the cook.
Oh, but I thought that was approved.
That was already, we already voted.
Okay,
The resignation.
before we take a break here, the one and only contract we have is for baseball.
Vote.
I vote.
Gonna say, I don't think that's
Okay.
controversial a bit.
That's not something
Can we
wrong.
do that?
Yes, we're gonna do it right now.
I make a motion
I bet you do.
to
Approve the contract.
approve the contract as presented.
For Terry Stevie.
For Terry.
I didn't know if we were doing
Yeah.
that, but been
Yeah, I
interested.
think we need to say it.
Terry Stevie for head high school baseball.
Second.
All in favor? 7-0. Now we're gonna leave Brad out and take the
We're gonna use the bathroom break.
admin and why don't we get 20 minutes with a 5-minute break?
Bob, you asked one.
We gotta get home, though.
Okay.
How are we gonna get in there?
So, hey, hold on.
Gotta vote on it.
Hey, guys.
Don't gotta read
Mr.
it.
President, I move to enter executive session per KSA 75-4319 for a period of 20 minutes at 9:21 PM to discuss personnel issues and non-elected personnel under common exception, including or not including Dr. Newen-Swander or admin,
No, including the admin.
but including admin, with the open meeting to resume in the boardroom at 9:41. Thank you. PM.
Second,
All in favor? 7-0.
check is canceled too, by
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Mr. President, I move to enter executive session for KSA 75-4319 for a period of 15 minutes starting at 9:42 PM to discuss employer-employee negotiations under the coma exception, including Dr. New and Swander, with the open meeting to resume in the board meeting at 9:57 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
7-0.
No, they can go.
Yeah, we voted, yeah.
Oh. Actually, sure.
Day.
Mr. President, I move to enter executive session per KSA 75-4319 for a period of 10 minutes at 9:57 PM to discuss employer-employee negotiations under coma exception, including Dr. Newen-Swander, with the open meeting to resume in the boardroom at 10:07 PM. Second. All in favor?
7-0.
No, it's.
Yeah.
It's here in the middle school, Springs is the middle, JV's middle school, some varsity type. But it's weird, because like some of the JV boys that were sitting varsity both are gonna be at, yeah.
Superintendent report, then we adjourn.
The only thing I was gonna report on was inclement weather. If you guys had any questions on how we go about making decisions, I am not trusting the local news at 5:30 anymore.
No kidding. We all got duped.
But, tomorrow we will have activities in the evening just because the roads will be,
Let's get the 40
yeah,
Yeah, it'll be.
but it's not gonna be good. And we're down one bus because we still have one in the ditch. Just blocked north of my place. But anyway, the only other thing I had was just congratulate the 7 of you on being at this milestone in the whole bond thing. And just remember, every school district that has a bond issue, it raises anxiety in the local community. Because that's, and hadn't done it for 30 years. And you experienced last year, every district goes through the same thing. And, but good job of all the time you spent over the last year and a half working on this. I think we all know we've got to do something. It's our turn, it's time, whatever. I don't get a vote, but it's my generation. You'd mentioned you got a year and a half. I don't have,
Yeah.
my kids aren't in, and I don't make a percent off of anything. But I'll pay more than most people, but I'm okay with that. So.
I need their oaths if you have them. Since it's a new term.
Oh, yeah.
So you will have to.
That's
You-
Do we have to go to
January.
the county?
Yes.
Okay.
And have you received your letter yet from the county?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I haven't.
doubt it.
Probably. They were still waiting on Shawnee
even have
County
our
before
property
things had
taxes
been
up.
set.
So you guys will
But
have.
when that comes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that's all I had was
Your
congratulations.
And once again,
Sent out this speech. Should I just call you and let you know? We can have a little ceremony then.
once again, yes, we gonna have a ceremony, Dave.
And your plaque is.
Adult location.
Yes.
What?
No, I just said ceremony like in an adult location.
Oh,
Yes.
Well,
Not yours to 10.
Okay, not one of
I
them.
won't hold you to every
Like he
promise, but
I know.
it's been great working with you.
Thank
And we will continue to work.
Glad you'll never
together.
know how much I appreciate you.
But
But I did break my promise.
You know, Dave worked really hard to get Brad here,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
everybody
hands down.
needs to
We'd
remember
have
that.
been Toes without it. Very fun.
Sorry, bud.
He called me back. I joked with Britton, like, I'll call him and he ain't gonna answer. He's gonna know what this is.
Meeting
He
adjourned.
called me back 2 minutes later, it's like, okay, don't hang up.
He was like, thank God they called me. Here I come.
Let's all go around.
Well, I called Brett.